Vanderbilt's been opening doors to success since the arrival of head coach James Franklin. Today, when searching for a star, look no further than Jordan Matthews. He arrives just 100 yards shy of breaking the SEC record for all-time receiving yards. Aaron Murray arrives on the Vanderbilt campus with the weight of the Bulldog family on his shoulders. An SEC record holder that is just 7 days removed from his second loss of the season. Most think it's up to him to lift the spirits of a team so desperate for a chance to return to the SEC championship.
The Bulldogs have beaten South Carolina. Georgia will win this ballgame.
The Tigers' opening victory in 2013.
Missouri knocks off the Bulldogs.
I can't tell where the journey will end, but I know where to start.
Oh, man. Touchdown Bulldogs. My gosh. And the celebration begins in Athens.
Game time it is. The Home Depot SEC on CBS. Number 15, Georgia. No one's played a tougher schedule, and no one has the bruises to prove it, quite like the Dogs. Yes, it is the first of two here on CBS. Vanderbilt playing host here in Music City, USA, and for the first time since 1982, CBS cameras are here. Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Brando, and by my side is the old Lombardi winner from 1993, Aaron Taylor, and Allie LaForce will join us shortly. Yes, Aaron Murray and the Dogs are coming off a loss, but no, they're not done. And with him, why not? That's true.
Yeah, there's no question. Aaron Murray's going to be the key to their success. I think Georgia's still very much in this thing. When Aaron Murray, we talked to him last week, he said he pressed a little bit in that game against Missouri. He's got to do a better job of taking what the defense gives him, playing within himself, and trusting his supporting cast. We know how injury-riddled Georgia's been so far this year, so that means some of the younger players are going to have to step up. Guys like Chris Conley and Rotavius Wooten on the outside, but because of the injuries to Keith Marshall and Todd Gurley, that means two freshmen, Brendan Douglas and J.J. Green, are going to have to step up. And Timmy, with it raining a little bit, ball security is going to be paramount today.
Yes, a cold front just went through. We expect not much rain after this, but yes, it's a little slippery right now. I'll tell you another guy that's slippery, Jordan Matthews. And for Vanderbilt to get back on track in what is now their golden era of college football, Jordan Matthews better get the ball.
Yeah, no question. Jordan Matthews has been one of the most productive receivers in college football for good reason. He's 6'3", 205 pounds, got the size, the strength, the speed that you need. But what makes him different and special are his ball skills, the way he high points balls. He's got a huge catch radius, and I think this matchup with a very talented but young Georgia backfield could be the determining factor in this game.
They won 9 games a year ago, but to continue that momentum, 41-year-old James Franklin and his Commodores need to right the ship and get their first conference win of the year. They are stoked to have CBS here, and we are equally impressed at being in Nashville. It's the first of two, Texas A&M and Auburn coming up later, but first, the Dogs and the Doors. It's the SEC on CBS. The game is a near sellout here in Nashville, Tennessee. A late arriving crowd, though, because we did have some weather come through just a moment ago. Mark Richt now in his 13th year. 11-1 all-time against Vanderbilt. Their last loss to Vandy was back in 2006. And James Franklin, we mentioned earlier, 41 years young, former assistant to Ralph Friedgen. But he has come a long way since his days at East Stroudsburg State. 1995 graduate. And he's changed the culture in a very big way. The expectations here are to get it done regardless of injuries, regardless of holes from a recruiting standpoint. It's time to get the job done. And this is a pivotal game in their season. Marshall Morgan will kick it away for Georgia. They won the toss and deferred. Andre Hall is back deep. Senior, big-time cornerback for this Vanderbilt team at single safety. And the boot is to him at the 4-yard line. Hall is dumped down at the 22-yard line. The stop was made by Josh Harvey Clemens for Georgia. Enter Austin Carter Samuels, redshirt senior, transfer from Wyoming, who today will be playing with a heavy heart. He learned just a couple of days ago that he lost his grandfather, a man that meant so much to him, in fact, paid his way as a walk-on here to play at Vanderbilt. Dr. Samuels had a stroke, 76 years of age, in San Jose, California. So he's got a lot on his mind today. Let's see how he compartmentalizes things. Allie LaForce will have more on this a little bit later on. Little play fake, bootleg action by Carter Samuels. And the pass a little low and behind Jonathan Krause, incomplete. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. And this is what he has in front of him, Carter Samuels.
Yeah, left tackle Wesley Johnson's a technically sound fifth-year senior making his 45th start. And the supporting cast is pretty good, too. Jonathan Krause, number 17, is a Georgia native, so expect him to want to play and have a good game today.
Those starting lineups presented by Chick-fil-A. Jerron Seymour is the lone setback out of the shotgun on 2nd and 10. Carter Samuels. I think that one may have come out of his hand a bit too soon and tipped too at the line of scrimmage by the Georgia defensive front as we look at their defensive alignment, and they have been maligned, particularly on their back end.
Yeah, no question, but their front end's pretty good because of players like junior Ray Drew, who leads the team in sacks. He's got 5 already, 3 in the last 3 games. So behind him is Rameek Wilson. He leads the team in tackles with 61. And then on the back end, you mentioned it, Shaq Wiggins. That back end's got a lot of youth back there, a lot of freshmen. He's one of them, but he's played well. That's where they've been vulnerable, and that's where they have to show up today.
Damian Swan, number 5, has been burned in recent weeks. He's up against Krause now. Carter Samuels on the crossing pattern, incomplete. Matthews, that pass again looked to be a little bit behind the receiver, and Vanderbilt is a 3-and-out. They needed a good start. That was going to be a catalyst for them today.
Yeah, one of the things that they talked about was starting fast. Too many of their ball games, they've been starting slow, and you see Georgia running some green dogs there, trying to bring pressure. The way to get a quarterback rattled is get him off his spot, and Georgia certainly did that time.
Taylor Hudson will punt it away. We should mention that this young man is a high school quarterback from his native Powell, Ohio. That series only took 25 seconds off the clock, so that's what can happen in a high-risk, high-reward offense. And that's a fumble by Reggie Davis. Markers may be coming down, and they do. You got to give a little room, and they did not.
Going to be kick-catch interference.
Yeah. Got to give the receiver an opportunity to catch the football. And it was Jamel McIntosh, 27, that got down there prematurely.
Kick catch interference. Number 27 of the kicking team. 15 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
Fans don't like it, but this is an easy call for referee Matt Moore.
Well, we know coming into this game that Vandy thought it was important to be aggressive early, and they certainly were here. But the problem was they were too early and too aggressive.
J.J. Green will begin as the lone setback for Aaron Murray out of the shotgun. Conley is up at the top of your screen, his favorite target. And underneath, he goes to Green out of the backfield. Both of these guys are very, very good catching passes coming out of the backfield. And it's a first down for Georgia after an 18-yard gain. And a look now at our Chick-fil-A starting lineups. And it begins, obviously, with the catalyst Aaron Murray. 30 yards shy of Tim Tebow's SEC career mark for total offense. Now, well, we can take 18 off that. He's 12 yards away. What a career he's had. Green is caught right at the line of scrimmage. Take a look at the rest of that Georgia offense, led by an offensive line that's being rebuilt a little bit.
Yeah, they struggled a little bit at that right tackle position, so John Theus will be asked to be able to step in there and shore up. And Chris Conley, the wide receiver, he's stepped up as well. Remember, all the injuries they had, they need their skill position players to step up.
2nd down 11 after the loss on the prior running play by Green. He dots the I now. Trying the right side of the Vanderbilt defensive front. Pickup of a yard. Vince Taylor, number 53, redshirt junior from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, makes the stop as we look at the Commodore defense.
Yeah, 5th-year senior Kyle Westman's a Georgia native and could have next-level potential. Behind him, Jake Seeland's got big shoes to fill. Chase Garnham's been out. They need him to step up. And then on the back end, Andre Howell, he's a senior. He's a lockdown corner, so they're going to need people to step up as Georgia tries to get their young receivers into this game early.
3rd and 10. And Vanderbilt's going to take a timeout. They have struggled getting off the field in recent games. Missouri had them 20-0 before the end of the first quarter in their last game 2 weeks ago. So Coach Franklin wants to talk about it. He will, and will return in just a moment. 3rd down and 10 coming up out of the timeout. Aaron Murray now 13 yards away from the all-time SEC career mark for total offense. And you know how important this 3rd down is for Vanderbilt's defense and their psyche. They called the timeout.
Yeah, and what set this up was an early play by Carl Butler coming off the edge. I would expect Vandy to maybe try and bring some more pressure and get Aaron Murray rattled early.
4 wide receivers and Green, the lone setback. They'll take it. Relatively conservative call by Georgia. Kyle Westman made the stop, number 92. We got a marker down. Late flag that we just picked up from Matt Moore.
Getting a little chippy down there already, Timmy.
Wow, if this is against Vanderbilt, it sums up their season to this point defensively. You get a quality stop and then something like this.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 12 of the defense, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Boy, he's beside himself. Stephen Clark, number 12, the senior from Lauder Lakes, Florida, is the guilty party. Just
a zone read concept there. Aaron Murray rarely keeps that. Great job by this defensive line of Vandy of disengaging from their blocks using their hand and making the tackle.
The Wolfen came late and there was a push, and the second guy is the one that gets caught. Wow. And that's a senior. Sometimes you can have a little too much emotion. 1st and 10. Murray steps up. Could have been intercepted. Very close to being picked. Jake Seeland, 13, the middle linebacker out of Tucker, Georgia, got his mid out there on it.
Yeah, Jake Seeland's a smart football player, a little bit undersized, but does a good job, keeps his eyes on the quarterback. Murray with his eyes staring down his receiver with a little bit of late pressure is what caused maybe a very early turnover down here in the red zone for Georgia.
Here's a look at the Verizon red zone. Vanderbilt has scored a touchdown on 77% of its, but Georgia has been very effective with their opportunity. And here's Green making the most of it. Inside the 10 to the 7-yard line. Kenny Ladler making the tackle after a 13-yard gain.
Great job by the left side of this offensive line across the board, running a weak side ISO. Quavon Hicks coming up in there, isolating on the weak side linebacker, creating a ton of room for J.J. Green, the speedster. Down here in the red zone, Georgia likes to be able to run the football, and that was a heck of a pickup on that last one.
I think the officials are trying to take control of this. The Wolfen hasn't stopped. And I give Moore and the rest of that crew a lot of credit for settling things down. There's been bad blood between these two going back to the tay-to-tay between James Franklin, the head coach, and Todd Grantham, the defensive coordinator, after the game in 2011. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Green again. Westman has him wrapped up. Ball is loose. Georgia gets back on top of it. Number 61, David Andrews, a real leader for this offensive front at center. Junior from Johns Creek, Georgia, gets on top of it.
Great job of Kyle Westman backside, staying home in his gap. When we talked about ball security, it is wet here, but Vanderbilt is flying to the football. They worked on creating more turnovers, something that Georgia needs to be able to shore up on the offensive side of the football.
Ladler knocked it loose. Conley has been a favorite target in the red zone. 31. He is flanked to the top of your screen on second down. Murray keeps it and is smart enough to take a knee at about the 6-yard line, a 4-yard gain.
Murray's got much better legs than you think, but on a big third down here, Timmy, when Georgia gets down inside the 5-yard line, they like to run the football, but you have to be careful with what it is they do. They're in a 3-by-1 formation here with 3 receivers to the bottom of the screen and 1 to the right.
Including the tight end, Lynch, 88, to go along with Rantavius Wooten and Reggie Davis. Conley again up at the top of your screen. Looking for Conley. And he stopped at the 4-yard line. Well defensed by Ladler, who's off to a really good start. And Andre Howell, a young man from Port Allen, Louisiana, who could play at the next level.
Open field tackling is so important. Great job by Ladler to be able to come over. A lot of scouts been coming in here and looking at him, and for good reason. The way he breaks on the ball, Howell misses the tackle, but when you have pursuit and fly to the football like Ladler did there, you come up with big plays. Great job by Vandy of forcing the field goal and holding up in the red zone.
Special teams have been an adventure for Georgia. Remember the muff snap that they had in the game with Clemson? Not this time. Morgan puts it through. But emotionally, a win for Vandy after the mistake on the personal foul. We'll be back. Three to nothing our score. Georgia with the lead. We were touching on Austin Carter-Samuels and what he's going through emotionally with the loss of his granddad. With more on that, the third member of our broadcast team, we welcome Allie LaForce. Allie?
Guys, as you mentioned, Austin Carter-Samuels playing with a lot of emotion today because just 2 days ago, his grandfather, Tom, passed away of a sudden stroke. Now, Tom was more than just a grandfather to him, and as Austin described him yesterday, he said he was more like a second dad. So Tom played baseball here at Vanderbilt back in the 1950s, and that's why he's the only reason that Austin Carter is actually playing quarterback for Vanderbilt today. When Austin wanted to transfer from Wyoming, Tom insisted that he walks on at Vanderbilt. Austin's application was accepted, and Tom paid for his first semester. As they say, the rest is history. Now, for a little silver lining, Austin did get to return to California just last week during their bye week and surprise his grandfather for his 76th birthday. Our thoughts, our prayers go out to his family, and make sure next week you look for number 18 during their game against Texas A&M. Austin plans on wearing his grandfather's baseball number when he played here at Vandy to tribute to his life. Back to you.
Thank you, Allie. Thoughts and prayers, obviously, to the Carter-Samuels family. But this young man is in one of those positions that you know a lot about, Aaron, having to compartmentalize what's really going on. And in many cases, I think, and he admitted that to us today, it's a safe haven for him to be with his teammates and have a chance to play in a big game. Here's Kimbrough from the 5. Brian Kimbrough, the youngster from Memphis, Tennessee, brings it out to the 28-yard line. And that's where Carter-Samuels and company will make their way out. And it hasn't stopped. The chippiness, even on special teams now, between Georgia and Vanderbilt. That time, Brandon Harton, the walk-on running back, got loose, and Matt Morse still busy again. And we mentioned it stems from, really, I think, what happened here 2 years ago. At the conclusion of the game, James Franklin and defensive coordinator Todd Grantham had a tete-a-tete. And it was brought on by some action at the conclusion of an emotional game by some Georgia players. Franklin was looking for Mark Richt, and instead Grantham made a beeline for him. Obviously, Todd took a lot of responsibility for it at the time. It was major news. Franklin feels that emotionally it was a seminal moment for his team and his program, that he had his team's back and they had his. As you see, Jerron Seymour take it ahead for about 3 yards out to the 27-yard line. We'll call it 4, 2nd and 6 as they go hurry up. Quick out to Matthews, and he's got some space. Swan with a late recovery, closing down on him at the sidelines. But it's a first down for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, we talked about Jordan Matthews in the open in the matchup, and that's one thing that Vanderbilt will do. They'll run that hurry up. We talked about what a big target he is, but once he gets in the open field, he can kick it in. He's not the speediest of receivers, but he certainly finds ways to move the chain.
Hey, this is a kitchen sink game, okay, for Vanderbilt. Expect anything today. And see past Josh Reed now, record setter for him in the Southeastern Conference with that reception. Reed was a converted running back at LSU back in the day. On first down. Over the middle, Matthews again. He loves that seam route right down Broadway. And by the way, Broadway's not far from this stadium. 17 yards on the reception.
He's not the only one that likes it. As you see the rain coming down, Austin Carter-Samuels delivers the ball a little bit behind. We've seen his location be off a little bit, but we talked about the ball skills of Jordan Matthews, and we saw it right there. That's one of their favorite pass patterns, and they're pretty dang good at it, Timmy.
Well, those trips look with Carter-Samuels in the shotgun. Jerron Seymour, the lone setback. Samuels again was looking for a block from the H-back Quintera, who had gone in motion, but he stopped at the 41-yard line. Short gain of 2. Shaq Wiggins, upstart freshman from Sandy Creek High School, Tyrone, Georgia, making the stop.
Yeah, that secondary is going to get tested today, but I think that this Vanderbilt offense needs to be able to establish the run a little bit, particularly with the elements. You want to bleed some of that clock off, but taking some play-action shots over the top will certainly be helpful down the stretch.
Second and 8. And a pre-snap check at the line by Carter-Samuels. Flag comes down as the play clock was winding down. Looks like we had some procedure.
Play, false start. Number 82 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That's Chris Quintera. This has been a focal point for Coach Franklin. Play at the tight end position has not been what they have wanted. Now, he did have 5 catches, most of it in mop-up time in the game against Missouri. But they need better play at that position because Matthews needs a little more help. They lost some talent with the well-documented issues off the field with several of their players that caused their being kicked out of school. And they hope that Quintera can help them at the tight end spot. Second and 13. Carter-Samuels decides to tuck it and run. Knocked out just inside the 30 at the 34-yard line. Corey Moore made the stop. And the jawing continues.
There's Leonard Floyd rushing upfield, and Carter-Samuels saw a big hole there and decided to come out. And I think that was a pretty clean hit and follow through by Corey Moore there, number 39.
Pickup of 12, so it's third down, a little less than a yard.
Third down's been an area that this Georgia defense has struggled all year, and a big reason why is because they've been in third and short.
Twin tight end look.
They love power out of this.
Seymour has the first down and then some. Emotions really running high in this one early on. A 5-yard gain.
A lot of communication going on. Here's Carter-Samuels right here. Maybe there's a two-way go. Telling his guys where to go. Taps the center, says, hey, here comes the football. They run power, pull the backside guard, and just get a body-on-body and move the pile.
Offensive coordinator John Donovan, former head coach at Columbia, said that I love coaching smart guys, and he's coached a lot of them throughout his career. So making adjustments on the fly, something that Carter-Samuels and really all these offensive line that have to read those keys are well equipped to handle.
Yeah, no question.
We have another flag down. Matt Moore will tell us all about it.
Substitution infraction. 12 men on the defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's a foolish penalty by Georgia. In a game like this, in conditions like this, you can't afford foolish penalties. Now you're looking at 1st and 5. That means you have a lot of play options, and you see Carter-Samuels running out to the top of your screen.
Wildcat formation with Seymour now at quarterback. Here we go. A little flip reverse to Matthews. Boy, he may not be fast, but he's a wonderful open field runner, Jordan Matthews. He gets 6 on that on a well-conceived reverse out of the Wildcat.
They call this their Q package or their direct snap package, and Vanderbilt is really impressive. Maybe one of the better teams in the country in how diverse they are out of that. They can run reverses. They can bring Carter Samuels back in to throw. Puts a lot of pressure against that Georgia defense to prepare for all those looks.
Jordan Cunningham, 84, goes flank to the top of the screen. Carter Samuels with time finds Matthews underneath. And he burrows down to the 6-yard line. So after an 0 for 3 start in the opening series, Carter Samuels pitching perfectly here on this second series for Vanderbilt. That was an 8-yard game.
They haven't run it much, but when they have, they've been effective. And when they get down here, Tim, they like to be able to run that football, push it in. They've been having some success. It wouldn't shock me, though, if they get into the Wildcat again. They try and hit him with some play action.
Seymour in the backfield, and they go back to Matthews, dinking and dunking to their top player. You think the book is to get it to 87? Sheldon Dawson, number 2, made the stop. They are doing everything in their power to get him the ball.
And what's interesting is that teams know that. They know that they're going to throw to 87, and they still have trouble stopping him. So at some point, I think Georgia's going to have to be able to challenge him. But he's such a big target. If you try and press him at the line of scrimmage, you may end up paying for it dearly. But it looks like he's one-on-one up top at the top of the screen. I'd keep an eye over there as the safety starts to trickle over late. Good move.
First and goal. Seymour, the lone setback. Going alley-oop for Krause. Looking for the fade in the corner, working on Damian Swan. Not surprising they would pick on number 5. He has been on the receiving end a great deal of late. But, you know, you talk with Todd Grantham, and he'll tell you, look, we're getting closer. And if you look at the Georgia cut-ups on film, and I know you did, yeah, they've been burned, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to improve.
No, they're quite a bit better on film than they are on paper.
Second and goal. Seymour, nice move, touchdown. As the rain comes down, Vandy gets into the end zone.
Just a simple zone read concept, but at the line of scrimmage, Vandy is getting it done on both sides of the football. And Jerron Seymour may be only 5'7", but he showed big skills on that last one, punching it ahead for the go-ahead touchdown.
Yet another incredible story that this Vanderbilt football team has in its special teams. Kerry Spear, he's in for the extra point. More on that coming later. As an 11-play, 76-yard drive culminates with Jerron Seymour taking it into the end zone. All set up by Jordan Matthews, doing what he does. From Madison, Alabama. Happy to get that last roster spot in scholarship a couple of years back. James Franklin's team now with a 7-3 lead. Tim Brando along with Aaron Taylor. Allie LaForce, 11 plays, 76 yards. 5 passes all to Matthews in that drive for 41 yards of it. 6 rushes, one of them by Matthews. So he was, as they say, touching the leather a great deal in that series to give Vanderbilt the lead. Spear prepares to kick it away for the Commodores. Sheldon Dawson, the sophomore, out of North Memphis, Tennessee's Ridgeway High School, awaits. With all the injuries that Georgia's had, I think they're probably thinking more about getting other guys back there in special teams. You'd hate to lose one of your stars at a wide receiver position at this stage. This boot is a beauty. He thinks better of it with a little bit of help. And Georgia will start at their own 25 when we come back. Aaron Murray looks to take control. Down 4 with his beleaguered Dogs when we come back. Now it's time for our Home Depot Tools for Success. Hey, Aaron, I want you to talk about Aaron. Okay.
Well, one of the things they like to do is throw their quick game, and it all comes off of play action. You see here, the linebacker gets sucked up, creates a nice little void to Justin Scott Wesley. But the back shoulder throw, Murray's location is always usually spot on. Quarterback's got 2 choices on a fade. Throw it to where only his guy can get it or throw it out of bounds. Murray's excellent at that. We saw his legs earlier in this game so far. Big run against Tennessee. Feels the pressure, extends it, and then it becomes a scramble drill. Look at Todd Gurley giving him his numbers, mirroring him. That's big-time play and tools for winning.
Brendan Douglas is in the backfield now rather than J.J. Green. Merritt Hall is in at fullback, number 43 for Murray. And it is Brendan Douglas who runs well between the tackles, forging ahead for a couple against that staunch Vanderbilt defense that did a pretty good job in a couple of series prior to this one. Oh, Uga. A little, I mean, I know it's an early kick, Uga, but please. My goodness. I guess Uga hasn't had his first sip of the morning. Right?
And that's pretty representative of the way their offensive and defensive lines have been playing. I think the story of the game so far, Timmy, is that Vanderbilt is winning in the trenches.
On second down, Conley. Boy, that was a dangerous throw. It was well read. Let's take you to New York. Adam Zucker for this Heisman Watch presented by Nissan.
All right, Timmy B, thank you very much. Like Uga, it could be nap time for Teddy Bridgewater's Heisman hopes. His desperation heave falling short in Louisville's loss to UCF last night. Later, we have the reigning Heisman champ, Johnny Manziel against Auburn, and A.J. McCarron looking to go to 32-2 in his career tonight. Tim?
All right, Adam, thanks. Third down here. And, yeah, that Manziel story is going to get very interesting if he continues with his heroics later this afternoon. Over the middle, well defended, deflected beautifully in the perimeter by Darian Herring, the linebacker. These linebackers, a trio of sophomores, have gotten a trial by fire. This is a wonderful play.
Yeah, Conley gets inside of Howell, trying to find the hole in the defense, and the ball hits Conley right in his hands. You've got to be able to make that catch. Georgia's been in some 3rd and long situations, and that's a big one that they needed to move the chains.
Herring did tip it, though. I understand he's got to make the catch, but the ball was redirected by Herring.
If the ball's in the receiver's hands, you got to come up with that catch.
I got you. Jonathan Krause is back deep, awaiting the punt of Colin Barber. Krause decides to do something with it. Runs into one of his own and is down at the 31-yard line. I think he ran into Quintero. 42-yard boot. Well, we touched on the history of these two teams. There's plenty of it, and Jordan Matthews is part of it. Allie LaForce has got more all about it.
Yeah, the last time CBS broadcasted a college football game here at Vanderbilt was 31 years ago. It was homecoming day against Ole Miss. Now, George McIntyre was the head coach. Rick Taylor was the quarterback for Vanderbilt. Taylor threw for 237 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Joe Staley had a back-breaking fourth-quarter interception to lead Vandy to a victory, 19-10. Now, the 1982 Vanderbilt team finished 8-4 and made its 3rd bowl game in school history. It was the Hall of Fame Bowl, guys.
That's right. The pass to Matthews is thrown a little underneath by Carter Samuels. And by the way, George's son is doing quite well as a head football coach now at Colorado. He was, as they say, at all those practices, honing his talents as a future head coach. And Steve Sloan was coaching Ole Miss. Now, that's a while ago. John Forcade was quarterbacking back then.
You are a walking SEC encyclopedia, my friend. I'll tell you what, if you're Georgia, you have to think about capitalizing on this drive. You've got Vandy behind the chains. It's 2nd and 10. You got to get yourself a makeable 3rd down situation here.
Wesley Tate, number 24, has come in the running back spot. And that ball's tipped into the air. Drew got his big mid up and knocked it down. It was really open for Tate. He was going to catch it in the flat, and he had a little room to work with.
Yeah, Vandy likes to use those swing passes and tunnel screens, bubble screens out on the edges, is like runs to the perimeter. But so far in this game, both of these offenses having trouble with receivers holding onto the football, tipped balls, and ball location. I think in a game like this, with weather like this, you got to be able to dial up your run game, and Vandy seems to do better offensively when they're more balanced.
3rd and 10. Cunningham, 84 to the bottom of your screen. Matthews to the top. Samuels throwing underneath, and again underthrown, but with a lot of pressure too. Kraus was the intended receiver, but a ton of pressure coming from Georgia up front.
Yeah, number 52, Marlo Herrera, was kind of on a green dog blitz, and that late pressure affected Carter Samuel's location. But again, you have to wonder, Timmy, if maybe he's a little emotional because of his grandfather early on in this ball game. Not uncommon for that to happen. It happened to me on senior day. But Carter Samuel's not being as accurate early on as we've seen him be.
Reggie Davis is back deep. A line drive punt. Something to work with here. The freshman sensation gets it out to the 47-yard line. Low trajectory that time off the punt by Hudson. 37-yard boot, a 15-yard return for the Dogs, and we've got an injured Commodore. Number 97, Jared Morse, reserve defensive tackle, senior from Oxford, Alabama.
Yeah, he's one of the players that the coaches were looking to step up this year a little bit. They really like the way that he plays, and he's somebody that you'd like to have back. There he is right here.
Good clean block. Hard hit, a little bit blindsided, no doubt about it. But it was clean.
Clean up high, not targeting above the neck and shoulders. And a great tackle by Jimmy Stewart, number 54.
I think he may be just shaking out the cobwebs at this stage. He's upset about it.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Tell you what, James Franklin is doing for Vanderbilt what Jim Harbaugh did for Standard, taking a bunch of bookworms and making them into street fighters. And this is a pretty tough team, and they need to bow up right here.
Gosh, I love it when you say that. This is the SEC. You got to bow up for every play. 1st and 10. Green is the setback. That pass is caught by Lynch. Past the 50 to the 46-yard line in the arms of Kenny Ladler, the safety. 7-yard gain.
What I like about what Vanderbilt is doing, they're getting the receivers to the ground right away. They're tackling very, very well early in this game.
Only 7 away from the record now for Tebow. And there's J.J. Green. Just inside the 44-yard line, 45-yard line, and now they're saying it is a new record. Aaron Murray, 12,233 career total yards, a new Southeastern Conference record. He's moved it past the guy that moved the needle we thought could never be moved again.
What an incredible career he's had as a 4-year starter, and done it primarily with his arms. Tebow did a lot of his work with his legs, but Aaron Murray, before this season's over, could be the best quarterback that the SEC's ever known.
That's saying something, saying a lot. J.J. Green negotiates for a couple of yards and a first down on the 3rd and 1 play. So the Bulldogs control it. Archie Manning may have said, and given, I think, the greatest compliment to Aaron Murray, and I talked to Aaron about it. He's gone to the Manning Passing Academy for many years as a counselor. He said he's college football's answer to Drew Brees. He plays just with the same kind of chip, same body type, and throws receivers open.
There's no question, Tim. He's extremely accurate. He's like having a coach on the field. When you watch Aaron Murray in the pocket, he's so calm. Watch his feet. Very efficient, doesn't get rattled, which was why that game against Missouri was so out of the ordinary.
Timeout taken by the Georgia Bulldogs. They'll talk about it. They trail 7-3. First of 2 today. Our score. Vandy with the lead. A top NCIS agent could hit rock bottom in a new episode of TV's #1 show, NCIS, Tuesday at 8, 7 Central, only CBS. Well, the Georgia Bulldogs came out thinking they would be able to run downhill at this Vanderbilt defense. So far, the yards have been hard to come by. Brendan Douglas back in the game at tailback. Quavon Hicks is the fullback who looks to open a hole for him, and he does. All the way to a first down. Just as we mentioned it, Georgia finally gets what they could not have earlier. Javon Marshall, number 31, makes the tackle.
Prior to this play, Georgia's been struggling being able to find running room, but they just run a simple power. And I got to tell you, Brendan Douglas, number 22 for a true freshman, runs like a grown man.
This time he stopped. The Vanderbilt linebackers coming up to help the defensive front. Jared Morse, 97, who was appealing to the crowd a few moments ago, leading the charge.
Timmy, the thing that's shocking me the most is that Vanderbilt is controlling this line of scrimmage and making it very hard for Georgia to run the football.
Loss of 3, so 2nd and 13, and the pitch is to Douglas into the boundary. Look at him go. Yet another first down inside the 20 at the 18. Again, Marshall, 31, the strong safety, making the tackle.
Great blocking out on the edge. Quavon Hicks with that great face mask trying to hunt people up. Very little room to run inside, so Georgia takes it outside. Great adjustment by Mike Bobo.
Getting to the end of the first quarter as Douglas finds an absolute huge hole. He takes it all the way to the goal line. Could it be a touchdown? That late surge almost got him in there. Stephen Clark finally corralled him. They'll rule him inches away from the goal line.
Tim, I've been a part of so many games where you just get tired of not playing the way that you want to play. Brendan Douglas is a true freshman, is setting the tone for these guys.
Yeah, they went quick. They went fast. And Murray burrows in for the touchdown. Now they got Vanderbilt on their heels. And much like a Drew Brees, in sensing that, Murray hurried to the line of scrimmage and got the ball into the end zone.
Both of these teams do an excellent job of running tempo, but you see nobody being set on that Vanderbilt defensive line. Aaron Murray keeps the ball and gets Georgia back on the board with a much-needed touchdown.
Just as we touched on their inability to run the football, they go power all the way from really midfield into the Commodores' end zone and take the lead. 7 runs on that 8-play drive. And at the end of the first quarter, the Dogs lead it 10-7. We'll return to Nashville after this message and a word from your local CBS station. There's the pride of Tarboro, North Carolina, Todd Gurley, out inspiring his team. Made the trip. Came out to practice this week, but did not get any work, and they're hopeful, obviously, of having him ready to go come the game in Jacksonville in 2 weeks. He's become a bit of a cheerleader and partial woofer, I think.
Well, we've all got a role to play, and one of the hardest things for players to do, Tim, is to sit out. And I think that's a big reason why Mark Richt allowed him to come. It keeps him in the game. It keeps him in the game plan, but he can also help those 2 true freshman running backs who so far in that last drive were getting stopped, but really showed up and ran the football north and south. Georgia running a lot of power football, something they love to do with Todd Gurley, but in his place, they need those younger players to step up, and they did it big time on that last drive, buddy.
There's Brendan Douglas and J.J. Green. 16 yards and back-to-back carries in that last drive. You know, Douglas had a very unfortunate fumble in the Missouri game that may have been, you know, one of the real bad breaks of that comeback bid that they had against Missouri. They trailed 28-10, got it to within 2, and then missed on a 2-point conversion. But in the midst of that was a fumble by Douglas. And, you know, you remember those, and you want to get some restitution, right? And
they're true freshmen, and the 2 biggest concerns you have are ball security and pass protection.
Kimbrough is back deep off the kick from Morgan, and he takes it at the goal line. Out to the 31-yard line he goes, and let's go back to the studio now for this Liberty Mutual Insurance update. Take it away.
All right, thanks, Tim. First play of the second quarter on Rocky Top. South Carolina's Connor Shaw going 76 yards to Demir Bird. third in stride, and SC has a 7-3 lead. Right now, Missouri has a 7-3 lead on Florida. A huge day in the SEC East, Timmy B.
It is, Adam, and right now, South Carolina, all the precincts aren't reporting, but early on, you'd have to say South Carolina looks to be in the best shape. But the likelihood of a two-loss team representing the East in Atlanta is becoming more of a probability than a possibility. Wesley Tate takes it ahead to the 38-yard line, a gain of 6.
Yeah, the end of that season in the SEC East is going to be pretty cannibalistic. And I agree with you wholeheartedly there. You see Todd Grantham there, the defensive coordinator, knows that turnovers are something that are going to be paramount. And with the ground being a little bit wet, you'll see Georgia players going in once a couple, 2 or 3 guys show up and trying to strip the football away.
Wesley Tate remains in the backfield. And the brother of Golden Tate of Notre Dame fame is stopped just shy of the 40. Ramik Wilson, number 51, the junior from Tampa, made the stop. And you don't want a 3-and-out here.
No, and you have a very makeable third down here. Vanderbilt, early on in this game, being able to control the line of scrimmage here with the timeout, though.
Jake Bernstein, an injury timeout, 53. Redshirt sophomore from Lake in the Hills, Illinois. Having some difficulty.
Vandy's got a pretty good offensive line, coached by Herb Hand, longtime college football veteran, told us that Jake Bernstein's a blue-collar player.
Take a timeout, check on him, and pass along the information once we get it. We'll be back.
Welcome back to Nashville, everybody, where the Georgia Bulldogs have a 10-7 lead. On that last play, Jake Bernstein, the left guard, number 53, is locked up with backup nose tackle Chris Mays of Georgia. You see him going down there. He tries to pull him down over him, and right there, his elbow just gets caught up in the business.
Third down a yard. Remember, they've had 2 quick 3-and-outs. Then a 76-yard drive. They want to make absolutely certain they retain possession here. Georgia just got a little momentum.
Watch Carter Samuel's legs.
Oh, he did. Right on cue, partner, for the first down. Out to the 45-yard line. Corey Moore, number 39, makes the stop, the strong safety.
Yeah, number 6 is an underappreciated runner. He's a pretty mobile guy. You see what he's able to do. They run a lot of counter. They run a lot of quarterback power. But teams try and spread you out because it creates a lot of running lanes and gaps, and it was a good play call and execution that time by Vandy.
He's a hot and cold guy to some extent. When he warms up, he can throw it with the best of them. And I think because he's had such a good year statistically, a chance to go mano-a-mano with a guy like Murray is special for him, too. Krause, he's got it. Acrobatic catch at the 39-yard line of Georgia. 15 yards. Well done for the senior from Snellville, Georgia.
Yeah, Jonathan Krause is a nice compliment to Jordan Matthews. Does a good job of catching the football first, then making sure that his hands are in. But you talked about that hot and cold nature of Austin Carter Samuels. After that run, that can sometimes shake the cobwebs out. He looks to be hot right now.
Working on Quincy Malger, the free safety, is a freshman. Trey Matthews did not make the trip. Another injured Bulldog at that position.
Very little pressure from Georgia today. Remember how young they are. Big reason why they did so well last year is because Todd Grantham was coming after guys.
There's Krause again. Another first down. Ushered out by Armando Herrera, 52. 12-yard gain, another first down.
Yeah, he was covered out there all the way up at the top by Shaq Wiggins up here. All the way across, you don't know where he's going. It looks to be a cover 3, but just way too much cushion. You give any receiver that much space, he's going to make you pay for it, especially that guy. I think Georgia needs to be more aggressive on that outside edge.
All right. Both tailbacks are in. Kimbrough 25, Tate 24. Flanking Carter Samuels in the shotgun. It's Tate. Nothing doing. Georgia was ready for that.
There we go, Bulldogs. If you're a Bulldog fan and a defensive player, you're going to like what you saw in that last play, which was getting penetration. Controlling the line of scrimmage is about being fundamentally sound, but coming off the football, rolling your hips, and bowing the backs of the offensive linemen. That time there was penetration, and Wesley Tate had nowhere to go. The Bulldogs would be well advised to keep that up, because if you can control the point in that line of scrimmage, you're going to significantly limit what Vandy can do.
Leonard Floyd is just an incredible talent, 84. Keep an eye on him off the edge, whether his hand's on the ground or not. Carter Samuels swings it out. Tate's got it. And he's got a little convoy in front of him with the help of Krause. Ushered out of bounds at the 20-yard line, a 7-yard gain.
You can judge how good a receiver is by what he does when he doesn't have the football in his hands. Jonathan Krause, number 17, was doing his boy a solid out there, as Jordan Matthews caught the football, doing a great job blocking.
Personal foul, targeting number 47 of the defense. Helmet to a defenseless player. Number 47 by rule is disqualified.
Wow.
The previous play is under further review.
Well, it will be reviewed. And remember, many of these have been overturned, coming late for Drew. But again, this one at the sidelines. Our replay official is Mike McGinnis, and he will be taking a long look at this.
It can't be that there.
No, that is it. That's the one they called. Not at the sidelines, right there. Now, you have to, again, consider intent. The blow is to the head. If the referee's decision, and remember, they're taught to throw it when in doubt. If there's any doubt whatsoever, throw it. And then it's up to the replay official to determine whether, in fact, it should be held up and ineligibility is, in fact, in question. My guess is, having looked at that, it will be overturned.
They better hope they overturn it. There's going to be a mutiny in this stadium. Ray Drew does a great job of beating the right guard, Spencer Pulley, right off the snap. Pulley has to hold him a little bit. I don't even know if I thought it was that late, but it certainly wasn't targeting.
Let's listen.
After further review, the ruling is confirmed. Number 47 is disqualified.
There you go. See, it's very difficult with this particular rule to speculate. Anything above the head, above the shoulders, and there is contact to the headgear. And, you know, we can debate this, and we'll debate it all the way through the offseason to see if they tweak it.
We're going to debate it during this game.
At some point in time. No player shall initiate contact to the head or neck area of a defenseless opponent. Obviously, helmet, forearm, hand, fist, all of that. Rule 9, Section 1, Article 4. I have talked with Steve Shaw about this, the supervisor of SEC officials. There have been many that have gone into the gray area and been overturned that looked, in my opinion, to be far worse than that.
And it looked like the referee had his hand on the flag, and it looked like he was trying to throw the hold at first and then just continued on with the motion and threw it against Drew.
This happens at the end of the first half of this game. He is out for the second half, out for this game. Wesley Tate is now the lone setback. Well, in the Wildcat, he takes the snap and is inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. And in losing 47, Ray Drew, you're talking about one of the real impact players for this Georgia defense.
No question, Timmy. I mean, he's just an emerging stud. When you put on the tape and watch 47, he's kind of got this forklift move that Jumpy Geathers, I know Kwame Geathers played here last year, but Jumpy Geathers, where he dropped that shoulder, he's an excellent pass rusher and a big force up on that defensive line. This Georgia defense has struggled, but it wasn't because of the defensive line and players like Drew.
More pressure on guys like Floyd to make plays. Underneath, it's Matthews, stopped at the 5. Wrapped up by Quincy Mulger. Pick up a 4. 3rd and goal coming up.
Yeah, Quincy Mulger, just one of the many freshmen that are out there on the field. And if you're 3rd down and you're Vandy here inside this 5-yard line, they'd like to run a lot of specials, a lot of trick plays with hurry-up. Georgia's got to be on point.
Matthews is now in the backfield behind Tate. And now moves on the pre-snap read up to the top of your screen, and he is one-on-one with Damian Swan. Looks like a mismatch. Carter Samuels tucks it instead and takes it down near the 2. Well, he was looking for his favorite target. James Deloach, 89, makes the tackle. And we've got a 4th and goal. And it looks as though Kerry Spear is going to make his way out. And we've got an injured dog, Harvey Clemens. Josh Harvey Clemens, number 25, is a down on the field.
Man, that would be a big blow, Tim. They're already so young in that defensive backfield. If this injury is significant at all to number 25, that's going to make Georgia's already tough road even tougher.
Briefly, I want to go back to targeting for just a moment. Because it is a very difficult, and understand that all of us want to see, okay, safety is a primary concern in college football. Absolutely no doubt about it. And there have been very few targeting calls, which means the players are getting it. And I think as a rule, it's been good for college football, no question. But there are going to be, are there not, a lot of tweaks to this rule probably in the offseason.
As a former player, I am absolutely concerned with safety. There's no question about that. But to eject a young man for playing hard now, playing devil's advocate, Drew could have pulled up. But to say that he was targeting, I mean, Austin Carter-Samuels is 6'1", Ray Drew's 6'5". He jacked him in the shoulder. Yeah. I understand that because I suffer from some of the issues with CTE and some of the things that go along with it. It's a real issue. But I just think at some point, the penalty like that to be able to eject a young man is too severe, particularly for a defense that's already had so many losses. But to their point, maybe it is better being safe than sorry. I just didn't happen to agree with that call.
Kerry Spear from 20 yards out of the hold of Taylor Hudson. Holds a fake. Touchdown. How about that? Kerry Spear knew he might have his opportunity. Hudson did too. How about that? James Franklin said it's kitchen sink time. Well, it wasn't a pass that Hudson had an opportunity to pull off, but it was a handoff. And Spear took it right into the end zone.
Is there any reason why you think playing for James Franklin isn't fun? He told us in our meetings, if we want to win this game, we have to be aggressive. If we want to win it all, we got to risk it all. And they did right there and executed that trick play beautifully.
Young man that had to quit soccer, Kerry Spear, because of a heart issue, and has overcome it. But the targeting call against Ray Drew spawned this drive. He's ejected from the rest of this game. Mark Richt had a conversation. It wasn't pretty once he got the news, and it became even less attractive when the punter gave it to the place kicker for the touchdown. Vanderbilt leads it. CBS Sports coverage of Home Depot SEC football continues after this word from your local station. Coach told us, James Franklin, play in an aggressive manner, and my guys will respond. And I'd say this is aggressive, Aaron.
No question. That right side of that offensive line just caving guys out. You can't afford to take a mental play off. Football is one of those beautiful games that will make you pay, and pay dearly, if you lose concentration.
11 plays, 69 yards, and it took 5:51 off the clock, and there will be a lot of conversation, obviously, about the loss of Drew. And consider this, not only did they have an injured player at one point, they also lost Drew for the rest of this game, and that will have a dramatic impact on the way the second half plays out in terms of what Vanderbilt can do. Drew is the guy that's been giving everyone fits with pressure in recent games. And this kick is going to go out of bounds, which means great field position for Georgia to open this drive, 10 yards ahead of the 25. Yeah, and we've got a marker down, and that's what it will be. The ball will be moved forward to the 35.
Free kick, out of bounds, kicking team. Ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Allie LaForce has more on Kerry Spear. Allie?
Guys, Kerry Spear sort of hinted to us yesterday that we may see a fake. All he said, though, was that every kid's dream is to throw a touchdown. Well, he didn't throw one. He ran for one, but he sure did get it now. He's much more than just a kicker to his teammates because he has a very rare health condition that causes an irregular heartbeat. In fact, he had to give up his first love, which was soccer, due to his condition. But his kicking skills translated pretty well to the football field.
It did. Thank you, Allie. Quavon Hicks taking it underneath on the pass from Murray, but nothing doing. Well defended there by Andre Howe. Part of that recruiting class of Bobby Johnson. You know, the seniors on this team had gone 2-10 and 2-10 in back-to-back years. And James Franklin came in, asked them to buy in. Boy, did they. And now they have taken this program to heights that they never dreamed when they came here. Murray, under pressure, had to unload it. Adam Butler, 69, a bull rush right up the middle of the redshirt freshman from Duncanville, Texas.
Yeah, number 69 beats 2 Georgia players on this because the freshman tried to block him as well, Brendan Douglas, but couldn't get there again. This Vanderbilt defense is playing physical, they're playing aggressive, and they're winning at the line of scrimmage. It's third down. We know that Vanderbilt likes to come after you. They're getting Murray rattled a little bit. Be interested to see if they come up with pressure. Now's a perfect time for one of these young receivers to step up and make a play.
Connolly, the veteran receiver, is up at the top of your screen. And Murray's going to take a timeout. That will only make the crowd rise to its feet even more. There's a healthy contingent of Georgia fans on hand. But right now, the decibel level coming from the black and gold. Time to Who won the Heisman Trophy the year CBS last broadcasted a college football game at Vanderbilt? Now, we're not gonna give you the year again. We've already told you that. We're asking you to play along at home, okay? But think about that, and we'll give you the answer a little bit later on. Third down and 10 with the ball at the 35, and Georgia a little bit on their heels after that timeout. Vanderbilt's pre-snap movement getting to Aaron Murray just a bit. Dumps it underneath the Hicks, just nothing there. Darian Herring makes the tackle, and this is a pumped-up Vanderbilt defense right now.
Look at all those black jerseys flying to the football, Timmy. That is pursuit. That is when you know you're humming as a defense. Quavon Hicks gets this football. He's got 1 defender, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The entire team is coming over to get these Georgia backs down on the ground. And when you can pursue the football like that as a defense, you're going to get yourself off the field a whole lot.
Colin Barber, youngster from Cartersville, Georgia, set to boot it away. Jonathan Krause back deep for Vanderbilt, standing around the 25-yard line. Whoa, almost got to that one.
Yes, he did.
Fourth catch called for by Krause at the 14-yard line. That's a 47-yard boot. Plenty of pressure coming from the Commodores as they look for the jugular, and now Barber hobbling off. Exacting a few boos from the partisan fans here at Vanderbilt.
Remember, special teams have been such an issue for Georgia this year, and a couple years ago in 2011 it was the case. And here off the outside edge, Andrew Williamson almost gets that one, buddy.
Yeah, then he decided to go Hollywood, not Nashville, but Hollywood off the as he got up. Fans here in Nashville did not appreciate it. 1st and 10 for Carter Samuels.
Watch zone read here.
Matthews out ahead to the 30-yard line. Let's go back to the studio in New York. This Liberty Mutual Insurance update. Adam.
All right, Tim, thank you. In South Carolina, having trouble on Rocky Top. Rajon Neal going in for the 5-yard touchdown. 17-7, falls on top of the Gamecocks. Meanwhile, Missouri at home looking to stay undefeated. It's 10-3 Tigers. Tim and Aaron, back to you.
Look out. This SEC East is absolutely wide open, and don't be surprised if there aren't many more surprises as the day continues. Brian Kimbrough has moved in at setback. Actually ran into Carter Samuels. He still makes the pass, and it's Trent Pruitt. Pruitt out ahead of the 45 to the 47. Another first down.
Georgia is not tackling very well at all on the perimeter today. They've got some injuries there. Josh Harvey-Clemens, a strong safety, has been out. Corey Moore's been filling in for him, but Shaq Wiggins here comes up, just misses the tackle there, and then he shakes the safety, Quincy Mauger. So young on their back end, and you want to know why Georgia's struggling defensively. We just saw it.
Well, what they have done, it seems, is force Georgia now to be thinking not just about the vertical part of the game, but also the width as they go. A little Emery and Henry. Intercepted by Shaq Wiggins. Take that for your kitchen sink. Pretty sure they knew this was coming. This is why you go to the film room, right?
No question. Shaq Wiggins, the true freshman, smelled that from a mile away. Austin Carter-Samuels, they tried to run hurry up there, but you can't afford to throw that football and give Georgia some life so early.
Morgan with the extra point. We've got a flag down. Now, that is a byproduct of the old Emory and Henry. Steve Spurrier used to run that all the time. And it's not as if James Franklin hasn't used it before. Georgia certainly was ready for it. And give the freshman Wiggins a ton of credit for. Here, let's get the call.
False start on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. Replay the try.
Talk about changing the course and the momentum of this game midway through the second quarter, just as Vanderbilt was going in their own minds for the kill to get a 2-score lead. The interception returned for a touchdown.
And that's only Georgia's second interception on the year, Timmy, and that defensive line was still running over there late. Shaq Wiggins single-handedly could have turned this football game around. Number 6, when you need big plays on the road, you got to get turnovers, and none may be bigger than what Shaq Wiggins has done. Georgia Bulldogs feeling good and back in this one.
Adam Zucker in New York. Coming up on the Geico Halftime Report, Spencer Bryan and I will get you caught up on all of today's action, including a special moment at Eastern Michigan, a team mourning the loss of wide receiver Demarius Reed, who was tragically shot and killed earlier this week. Well, on the opening kickoff, Tyler Allen goes 90 yards for the touchdown, currently trailing 14-7, but what a special moment to start the game in Ypsilanti. Now back to Georgia Vandy.
Second interception of the season. The only other one came against North Texas in a non-conference game, but Wiggins took that one to the Love Shack and has given Georgia the lead 17-14.
The Love Shack?
Yeah.
The Love Shack.
I think that was in Georgia, by the way, if memory serves me correctly.
That was a huge play. Mark Richt told us this week, Timmy, you remember, if we were just +1 in either of those games that we lost, we would have won the ball game. Well, guess what? Georgia's defense that's been so maligned, particularly on the back end, found a way to make a huge play on the road and get themselves back in this team. That's just the sort of thing to keep a team alive and make them feel they've got a chance to win where it was in question early on.
Kimbrough is back deep. Kick is short. He'll field it at the 12. And they're spun down at the 17-yard line. That's where the Commodores will take over first down. Tomorrow, the NFL on CBS hits on doubleheader excitement. In one game, the Patriots hope to lay some old Brady magic on Geno and the surprising Jets, or the Bengals battle the Lions. Then the Texans tackle the unbeaten Chiefs, and the Ravens rumble with the Steelers. Check local listings, beginning with JB, Dan, Coach Shannon, and Boomer on the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines. Jerron Seymour is the lone setback now for Carter-Samuels. 165 total yards for this Vanderbilt offense today, and 92 for Georgia. Seymour stopped at the 19-yard line. Leonard Floyd all over the place. A freshman from Eastman, Georgia. Once he grows into his body, says Todd Grantham, look out. He's already been a strong presence.
No question. Great pass rush on the inside. Wesley invites him to the inside, but look at that. He breaks on the football. He doesn't give up. Because he took that inside route, he's got tremendous athleticism. Number 84 is going to be a dominant player in the years to come.
Quintera, the H-back, 82. Seymour dotting the I behind Carter-Samuels. Play fake. Carter-Samuels dump. That's the first sack of the afternoon. Nice work by Jordan Jenkins, 59. He's been up and down this season, having to replace Jarvis Jones, and you see an injured Austin Carter-Samuels. And he looks to be in some pain.
That would be a big blow, Tim.
Yeah.
Jordan Jenkins and the rest of that defensive line are all over him, which is unfortunate because Jonathan Krause was wide open.
And Patton Robinette begins to loosen up. The redshirt freshman from Maryville, Tennessee. He's thrown 5 passes this year, completed 4 for 41 yards. Let's take a look at see where this may have occurred.
Georgia defensive line just...
Oh, yeah. Bent over the ankle right there. You can see it. Chris Mays and Jordan Jenkins had him sandwiched there. It's the left ankle as he's going down. That first angle we showed you probably, and you can see a little bit of it right there. The first angle actually is more definitive. Watch the left ankle.
Oh,
right there. I mean, he's about 210 pounds. You know, they say 6'1". I'm going to say more like 6 feet if that's the heels are good. And Jordan Jenkins is at 250, 6'3", and then you got Mays at 321 pounds, 6'4", all 6'4" of him.
Make no mistake about it. It was Chris Mays and his 3+ bills that did it on that one.
He's shaking him off. He's like, hey, I'll take some help. He wanted to go off on his own power. He really did.
We talked about how mentally tough he was with the passing of his grandfather. Now we may get a chance to see how physically tough Austin Carter-Samuels is. This game was so important to him, particularly this weekend. If there's any chance that this young man could come
look
back.
at him. You see, he's like, there's a little more pep in his step right now. Yep.
I love this game, man. If you play college football, there's a 100% chance of you getting hurt. Without question, for him to do what he did to get back on this field for this team was huge.
And he said to us, he said about the afterlife, if you believe, and I certainly do, the fact that I surprised my grandfather last week during the bye week, it means everything to me. It comforts him. And here's Patton Robinette in at quarterback now. Out of the backfield, Seymour. And Jerron Seymour out to near the 20-yard line. 8-yard pickup. Leonard Floyd all over the place, again making the tackle. And Vanderbilt will be forced to punt.
Great first play call for Robinette, but Carter-Samuels, man, Timmy, they need him.
Well, they have not, in the 3 years that Franklin has been here. Now, Jordan Rogers was here a season ago, and you remember that name well. Brother, pretty stout quarterback in the National Football League. They have not had the same quarterback in back-to-back years. A lot of pressure from Georgia there with Reggie Davis back deep. They do get a healthy bounce, but they're going to rule it out of bounds at the Georgia 46-yard line. We talk about the East being up for grabs and perhaps a 2-loss team winning it. Injuries part of it. James Franklin was having an incredible year. Separates his shoulder last week in victory. Some bad news for Mizzou. Then from Gurley missing the last 3 games with an ankle sprain. And of course, Florida losing Jeff Driscoll with a broken leg last month against Tennessee. And now Austin Carter-Samuels. Will we see him again this afternoon? J.J. Green in at tailback on first down. Murray has Conley, who figures to be the guy he'd go to most in critical situations, the junior from Dallas, having a very solid season. Let's go down to Allie LaForce. Allie?
Guys, it's not looking good down here for Austin Carter-Samuels. He was very tough, and we know he's a mentally tough guy in front of all his teammates. When he reached the trainer's table, he laid down and just put his hands over his head and started crying. They were reaching for his knee, and they're working at his knee right now. So while it looked like the ankle, it's looking more like the knee on the trainer's table, and he's in a lot of pain mentally and physically.
Not good news. Certainly the ankle is always part of the impact, but all of the leg was in question, no question. And Brendan Douglas takes it down to the 25-yard line, and we've got another Commodore on the deck. 8-yard pickup for Brendan Douglas. And the injured Commodore is Vince Taylor, number 53.
He's the big 6'2", 308-pound nose tackle out of Hattiesburg.
Injuries are part of the game, you know that. And in a season win, and understandably so, we've had a lot of issues with the head and concussive systems. It seems of late we've seen more injuries to the lower body. We'll be back. Vince Taylor with some assistance, making his way back to the sidelines. Georgia with the ball, and it's been really since the interception by Shaq Wiggins, their game. Let's take a look at this.
Well, we know it's rough down there in the trenches. Number 71, John Theus, the right tackle, pulls down Vince Taylor there, and that's right there at that last part. You see that he kind of twisted and externally rotated at a funny angle.
I realize you can call holding on, as the old cliche goes, on a lot of plays, if not all. But
and that's why it's dangerous to do down there. Hey, I'm a former offensive lineman. You ain't holding, you ain't trying, but you got to take care of the guys, even if they're on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
J.J. Green and Vanderbilt doing their best to make the big stops. Jared Morris in there making the stop as Carter Samuels hops up. Looks to be trying to get himself in position to play. We shall see. J.J. Green on the quick pitch into the boundary. And again, Vanderbilt showing some stout on the edge. Walker May, this time number 90, redshirt senior from Birmingham, Alabama, making the stop. Looks as though Carter Samuels is trying to work that out as best he can.
Great job by that Georgia defense to set that edge and control the line of scrimmage on that last play. Here in the red zone, on third down, you got to watch Georgia. They run zone read, they run play action off of this. They need to stop here because the momentum has shifted.
1 of 5 on third down conversions. Murray. That's complete to Davis at the 11-yard line. An 11-yard pickup.
You just can't give Aaron Murray that much time to be able to throw the football. We talked about what a smart player he is, like having a coach on the field. That time there was no Vandy defender in there, and you have to wonder if Vince Taylor would have made a difference, because when they run games and stunts and twists in there, they're pretty effective at collapsing the pocket.
Douglas, the running back, hammered quickly behind the line of scrimmage by Herring, falls forward to about the 10.
Doing a lot of bringing Darian Herring off the outside edges. He's a physical football player. Consistent, always seems to have a nose for the football, but I'll tell you what, he hit Brendan Douglas and bounced off a little bit.
Hey, these Vanderbilt linebackers have played well, and they were a huge question mark coming into today's game. 2nd and 9. Could this be a freebie? It's picked off by Herring.
Coming back, Westman was offside.
Had a free play, Murray knew it, and decided to run with it. And then the ball was tipped and went into the hands of Darian Herring. Matt Moore, our referee, will give us the indication. I think it was a snap count that did it. He went hard count on them.
Offside. Defense, number 92, 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
See, that's something that a senior, a big-time quarterback can pull off. You know, right there.
And a great job by David Andrews, a center. Anytime out of the corner of your eye you see that movement, you have to snap the ball no matter what. Even if it's a fumble, you'll catch him off sides.
They can get a first down without the touchdown. 2nd and 4 with the ball at the 5.
Zone read here. Number 22 is a north and south runner.
Murray, little hitch, has room. Well, he lowered his head and got hammered at the 2-yard line. Jake Sealand, the middle linebacker, with the tackle. And you hear the Georgia crowd now. They're being heard from because of the manner of the hit and the blow to the upper body. But remember, the Georgia player is not defenseless when he's running and trying to get into the end zone.
And Sealand used his right shoulder with his head to the side.
3rd and 1 from the 2. Can get the first down without the touchdown.
Vandy historically down here inside the 5-yard line has brought pressure, but you have to stay in your lanes.
Murray, Conley, got it. is going to be down just shy of the end zone. They're going to rule the knee down before he put the ball in, but that will be a first down.
Very, very close. Good tight coverage by Vanderbilt that time, but that little bobble by Conley may have cost them a touchdown.
But they do have the first down,
which is huge, and I would imagine with the beef that you have up front, put it in the hands of the ball carrier and let him move the pile.
I think Murray was waiting to see if they would review it. They may. It is under further review.
Timmy, to me, it looks like his knee's down. You catch it, he bobbles a little bit. Boom, right there, behind this leg. You're not going to be able to see. Please look through the shin of the Georgia defender. There we go.
But the good news is, as we said, you could get the first down without the touchdown. They only needed the one to get a fresh set of downs.
But hey, great job by Conley of catching and securing that football first.
Right there. That actually looks, though, to be closer to the 2 than the 1, doesn't it?
Yeah, from a ball position standpoint, Tim, you have to think about that's maybe what they're reviewing upstairs.
They may have to say, okay, yeah, his knee's down, but it's not down at the 1. It's down at the 2. That would change things dramatically.
Especially if they don't get that first down. No question. It's down. He's got the palm of his hand down, but remember, that is a part of your body that doesn't constitute you down. Had he had his hand turned the other way, or an elbow, or a shoulder, or a forearm, that would have also been ruled down. Right there, he's fine, but the right knee, Tim, it's clear.
But that's not where the ball's placed.
No question.
Ball is placed almost in the end zone. It's as close to being in. It's well inside the 1-yard line where the ball is placed.
It needs to be moved back a full yard closer to the.
Which means it's not a first down.
No question. So then what do you do, buddy? 32 seconds left.
You have all the momentum, and you still have a timeout.
Here's my deal. If you're on the road and you got the ball on the 2-yard line, you got to trust your offensive line. We talked about trust and what Aaron Murray says he needed to do. Well, I think Mark Richt needs to trust this offensive line. They've been finding some momentum. Vince Taylor, the big nose tackles out, but that little bobble by Conley was so costly. He does catch it, he does secure it, but only after he gets brought to the ground by pretty tight coverage from Vanderbilt.
And it is just, I mean, he grazes the ground. It's not like his knee authoritatively hits the ground, but it does. There's the juggle there. Watch that right knee right there.
Bam.
It's on the ground, and it's well beyond the 1-yard line.
I think it's right at the 2-yard line, if not a little bit behind that. Depending on where it's spotted now, which is about 6 inches shy of the goal line, I think it should be at the 1.5, maybe the 1 3/4 yard line.
They've got to move this ball back to the 2-yard line, and it'll be 4th down instead of first down. But Georgia will have control and a decision to make. Mike McGinnis is our replay official, and he's already had a busy day with the targeting call that ended the proceedings for Ray Drew of Georgia.
Now remember, Tim, what's important is Georgia does get the ball back after the half. If you're Mark Richt and you go for it and you don't get it, you give all that momentum back to the Commodores. If they don't get the first down, I think there's a strong argument.
After further review, the ruling is the runner caught the pass and was down at the 1.5-yard line, which did not result in a first down. It will be 4th down and half a yard.
So, decision time for Georgia. And it appears that they are going to go for it. Remember, they don't need a touchdown. They just need another yard. But precious ticks and 1 timeout remain. Douglas and Hicks are the setbacks behind Aaron Murray.
A sneak, toss sweep maybe out of this.
Well, they've had plenty of time to discuss it during the review.
Or with Murray under center, follow your big center.
And I think they're going to take the timeout here on the Vanderbilt side.
Timeout of the half.
So the Commodores are going to talk about it. Well, who won the Heisman the year that CBS last broadcasted a game here at Vanderbilt in '82? Well, of course you know. Hunker down, you hairy dogs. Herschel Walker beat out Stanford's John Elway. SMU's Eric Dickerson for the Heisman, running for 1,752 yards, 16 touchdowns, leading the Bulldogs to an 11-1 record. Their only loss came to Penn State in what amounted to a national championship game in the Sugar Bowl. Dogs were number 1, Penn State were 2 heading into that game. Well, you think they'd like to have old Herschel Walker back?
Oh, there's no question, particularly in a situation like this, because this is going to be Georgia's 10th play of this drive, 7 of which have been runs. They have taken back over control of this line of scrimmage, and they need them to continue that right here big time.
The old late play-by-play man for the Georgia Bulldogs would say right now, you got to hunker down, you hairy dogs. That's the way Larry Munson would call it. Let's see what Aaron Murray decides to do.
Now remember, he already drew Westman off sides with the hard count. Puts a lot of pressure on that defense. You have to keep your eyes on the ball, bow your back, and reset the line of scrimmage.
Murray. Runner pass. He'll take it in. Touchdown. Brilliant play, and why not leave it in his hands? With the option to throw it or run it.
Run-pass conflict, Timmy, is the hardest thing for a defense to do because you can't defend everything. Right here, you see him. He's got great opportunity and great run lanes. Vandy did respond. They did pick up the right receivers, but what that did is it created a void that Aaron Murray used his legs to find and get the touchdown.
Marshall Morgan for the extra point. After a fake field goal, Vanderbilt had control. Then came an interception returned for touchdown. And then Aaron does what he always does in a critical situation. Dogs lead it by 10. Coming up on the Geico halftime
And now
report.
it's time for our Geico recap.
Well, we want to tell you that we've got coming up on the Geico halftime report, Adam Zucker and Spencer Tillman along with Brian Jones. They'll get you caught up on all the scores and highlights, and trust me, plenty is going on in the SEC East and beyond. And they'll have a preview of the second game today on CBS, where Vern, Gary, and Tracy are located. Number 24, Auburn. Number 7, Texas A&M. Manziel looking to keep the Aggies in the thick of the SEC West. That's all coming up on the Geico halftime report. Well, Aaron Murray's magic at the end and the trust that his coach Mark Richt had in him to clearly identify whether to run or pass paid dividends. And they suddenly lead by 10. Kimbrough is back deep. Be interested to see if it's Robinette that's back out there. Carter Samuels will have some time, it appears, as they go short with that kick. And it will be Robinette in at quarterback. The ball was received by Jimmy Stewart, 54, as they wanted to keep anyone from having a big return. But in so doing, the ball is going to be spotted at the 34-yard line with Patton Robinette as your quarterback. And you saw a few moments ago, Carter Samuels making his way towards the locker room early. So they're going to give him the once-over, you can imagine, at halftime.
I think whatever route combination you throw has to be towards the sideline, and it's either a completion or you throw it out of bounds.
Quick slant to Cunningham. Jordan Cunningham just shy of the first down. They go quickly.
With a backup quarterback, decision-making is going to be imperative, particularly in 2 minutes.
They only have the one timeout left. He decides to tuck it and run. Manages beyond midfield into Georgia territory at the 47. Only 4 ticks left, but that gives him a chance to throw one down towards the end zone.
We talked about Vanderbilt wanting to be aggressive, and you have to give credit that Georgia Bulldog defense. Very good coverage on that last one that forced Robinette to pull it down and run the football.
I'll be interested to hear what our friends Brian Jones and Spencer Tillman have to say at halftime about all that's going on, not only here but everywhere else in the SEC East. Coming up at halftime. Well, Allie LaForce is with us, of course, and she'll be busy again tomorrow. Tune in for college, pro, and fantasy coverage from a fan's perspective. Take back your Sundays with that other pregame show. That's tomorrow starting at 9 Eastern on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. And the launching pad for Aaron Taylor and Brian Jones.
Well, I know what BJ gonna say. Man, what they doing? They gotta have their linebackers step up. Man, come on now.
I think he's a little louder than that, Frank.
Yeah, I didn't want to blow out our truck's eardrums there.
I'd say this is a prevent look from Todd Grantham, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and sometimes the prevent prevents you from winning, but in a situation like this, you got to be careful. But keep your eye on number 87, 6'3", Jordan Matthews.
Robinette hit by Herrera as he lets it go, and it's incomplete. And we've come to the intermission, with Georgia leading Vanderbilt by a score of 24-14. The ebb and flow of this game changed when Coach Franklin decided to have one more trick play that went the other way for the Georgia Bulldogs, courtesy Shaq Wiggins. Let's go down to Allie LaForce with Coach Richt.
Coach, when Rager was ejected for the illegal targeting, what was your reaction? What does that mean for this defense?
Well, it means the next guy's got to go in there and play good. But I think the rules sets him up where he can actually play next week. But I didn't get to see it, so I don't know what happened.
Explain your thought process on deciding to go for it on the 4th and 1 there.
Well, you know what? When you're up by 6 or you're up by 13, that's just not a good number. We needed a touchdown.
All right, Coach, good luck in the second half. Thanks.
All right, that's the end of the first half. Georgia with the lead. The momentum was all Vanderbilt's when Drew was hit with the targeting. The Commodores went down and scored on the fake field goal. And then, shortly thereafter, the Georgia Bulldogs take in a touchdown on an interception return, and then Murray takes it in on the 4th down play to seize control of this one, 24-14. We welcome you back to Nashville, Tennessee. We are at halftime with Georgia leading it by a score of 24-14. Earlier, our Allie LaForce had a chance to visit with Vanderbilt head coach James Franklin.
Coach, can you give us an injury update on Austin Carter-Samuels?
He's out.
Completely out. Can you explain to me how you try to make up for that offense that he brings to this team offensively?
We'll be fine. Patton Robinette has prepared extremely well for this opportunity. He'll go in and manage the offense and do a nice job for us.
I know you like to take chances. Can we look forward to any tricks up your sleeves like the fake field goal?
Yeah, we're not going to leave any bullets left in the gun, I'll tell you that.
Good luck, Coach. Thanks. Yeah.
The injury that Allie was asking Coach Franklin about occurred here, and at a very difficult time, too. Momentum had already been seized with the interception returned by Shaq Wiggins. Very emotional, especially with what he's gone through personally with the loss of his grandfather. And now it all falls on Patton Robinette, youngster from Tennessee. As you look at the halftime numbers, now the turnover problem has been there for both teams. There's no doubt about that coming in. Both were in the minus category. And Aaron Taylor, who joins me, without question, Vanderbilt's going to have to shake it up some more. And this is a key first series coming up for them. They'll have to play defense. Georgia gets the ball.
Yeah, there's no question. I think that they're going to have to step up defensively. And this young man, Patton Robinette, is going to have to play out of his mind. I think the way that you do that is you run the football with your offensive line. But again, Georgia's weakness is on their back end. They've been able to exploit that. They have to get Jordan Matthews back into the football game.
Gary Spear will kick the ball away for Vanderbilt. Bulldogs with Aaron Murray looking to get the job done in this opening series. What Robinette needs is for this game to be within reach when he gets back out onto the field. That is going to go through the end zone for a touchback. Georgia will have it at the 25-yard line. So the onus really is on the Vanderbilt defense to open this quarter, given the circumstances.
There's no question. They have to be able to generate some turnovers, get the football back, give their offense some additional opportunities. They've been playing very well, tackling well, getting after it. Aaron Murray has 55 pass yards through this first half. I would assume that they're going to take some more shots down the road, but when that ball goes in the air, they have to be able to come down with it.
All right. They set up shop at the 25, first down. J.J. Green opens up in the backfield as the lone setback. Quick slant to Conley. Ahead for a first down. Out to the 36-yard line. Kenny Ladler, the free safety, makes the stop.
Well, when you take about where they've started their average drive, it's been in midfield. Vandy's had much more work to be able to do. And remember, the opposite was true last week for Missouri. 3 of their 6 drives when they were going against Georgia started midfield. So the Bulldogs kind of reversing the field here and taking advantage of some pretty good field position.
Everyone started except the timekeeper. They are to open the second half. Clock did not move on the first play from scrimmage.
I think it's important, Timmy, for Vandy to make a play early. They came into this game with so much emotion, so much going on, and then in the span of 2 plays, all the air, all the momentum, the fake field goal for the touchdown, all of that dissipated because they did the 2 things they knew that they couldn't do when they came into this game. Not protect the football and not protect the passer. And that's why they need their defense to step up here and get Georgia to turn it over.
J.J. Green remains in the backfield. Finding and rooting the receivers, and the handoff is to Green. He's stuffed at the 40-yard line. Kyle Westman, one of those youngsters that suffered through that first season. Defensive end, making the stop. Marietta, Georgia. Gain of 3 for the Bulldogs. Second down and 7. Green again. Looks as though the Bulldogs want to get the ground attack going. In that initial series for the touchdown, that's what they did. They utilized both Green and Brendan Douglas.
Yeah, they started this game throwing the football, but here they come up on 3rd down again. In this formation, they like to run the zone read, also get to the edge. But again, Georgia, look for them to take some shots over the top with play action.
Again, that pass is incomplete. Going for the quick slant for Wooten. Could have been picked off. Stephen Clark made the hit, and on the tip drill, Vanderbilt could have had a big play. So mission accomplished for the Commodores. They surrender 1 first down.
Yeah, there's no question. And I thought he had J.J. Green on the flare pass to his backside. That would have been his 2nd or 3rd read. But just a great play, and again, aggressive coverage, covering those receivers very, very well for the Commodores defense.
Only 67 yards passing, 9 of 13 for Murray.
This is what they wanted to do, Tim. If you're Vanderbilt, this is the absolute best way you could have started this second half.
Adam Aronson is in to punt this one away, going end over end with this punt. And Cross lets it bounce in front of him. And after a Vanderbilt bounce, the Dogs down it at the 20-yard line. Well, and now it's time to present the Red Lobster Scholar Athlete. And Red Lobster's commitment to the investment of our future is shown today by donating in the name of Fitz Lassing. Outstanding fullback, 3.9 in economics, scholar athlete, and has gotten the job done in a very big way. Senior from Nashville, Tennessee. Econ major, strong stuff here. And it's shown by donating $1,000 to the Vanderbilt General Scholarship Fund. Red Lobster's commitment to the investment of our future.
On this offense, Lassing's a glorified guard.
Nice catch by Matthews ahead to the 33-yard line from Patton Robinette. There was absolutely no backup in James Franklin when he spoke with Allie LaForce at halftime. He's prepared. He's ready to go. Next man up. Let's go get it.
And that's the attitude you have to be able to have. And one of the concerns when you get your quarterback knocked out is it a 2-for-1 deal? Do you not only lose your quarterback, but lose your star player in Jordan Matthews? Clearly, early on, Vandy going back to the plan that worked so well for him early in the first quarters, which is feed 87. Great matchup in pass protection right here between left tackle Wesley Johnson and emerging star Leonard Floyd.
Here comes Floyd off the edge. Robinette tries to step up. Flags are down. And he'll take it to the sidelines before being knocked out by Sheldon Dawson. I think 84 wreaked havoc on the offensive line that time. Don't you?
He's done it to a lot of folks.
Holding. number 67 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Remains first down.
And Wesley Johnson having to deal with him, a redshirt senior from here in Nashville. That's a load, having to pick up that speed on 84.
And considering the fact that today is Wesley Johnson's 45th start, he's only been called, that's his third holding in those games. He's a very dependable player that's played all along the offensive line, but I'm telling you, 84 is going to be a disruptive player in the SEC. He already's been.
Well, we'll see if the hard count got Georgia to encroach or whether it's procedure against Vanderbilt. Looks like it's going to go against Georgia. Preliminary indication.
Offside. Defense entered the neutral zone, causing the offense to react. 5-yard penalty, previous spot. Remains first down.
Robinette went with the hard count, got a free 5 out of the deal.
It's usually with a new quarterback and a new cadence. It's usually the offensive line or the center quarterback exchanges where you seem to have problems with backups, but great job by number 4 getting a free 5 yards.
From the 27, first. Oh, they backed them up, but they went the other way.
Terrible job by number 4.
Incomplete. Intended for Matthews. He wants a flag.
I thought he might have got one, too. Yeah. Pretty good coverage that time by Damian Swan. Number 5, you see him grab him right there. Tell you what, Damian Swan's been a player that has been attacked a lot, but when you see where they're trying to get the football to Jordan Matthews underneath on crossing routes, shallow crosses, quick slants, at some point they've got to be able to stretch this field vertically, move some chains, particularly when it's 1st and 15.
Now it's 2nd and 15. Off the zone read, this time Robinette gets out ahead of the 30 to the 31-yard line. Call it a gain of 4.
After so much energy, Tim, being in this stadium early on in the game, they've got to do something to be able to get this crowd back. Your defense did great job getting 3 and out. They give you the football back, and you get the procedure penalty. Now you're behind the chains. This is a huge 3rd down, not only to keep this drive going, but for momentum that they have an opportunity to seize back here.
Austin Carter-Samuels on the sidelines, watching his teammate Benton Robinette on 3rd and 11. Call it 12. In trouble and sacked. Jordan Jenkins gets through, number 59. That's a good coverage sack by the Bulldogs secondary. Simply couldn't find anyone open. And now Taylor Hudson will be called upon to punt.
Yeah, and I thought it was a pretty good job by the tight end, 81, Stephen Shoy, up here on the top of the screen, who's going to be blocking number 59, Jenkins. Does a good job of holding him up. But because Robinette's not able to throw the football, 59 does what he's supposed to do, fold back in and get the sack.
Hudson boots it. Short. And it's going to take a Georgia bounce, and we've got another melee taking place. The blocking back, 34 for Vanderbilt. Andrew East handles the long snapping, actually, along with Tim Kimbrough, reserve linebacker. And you can see that Mark Richt is going to have a nice little chat with him. No whistle. We'll be back.
Well, you guys heard about this altercation. Keep your eye right here. We talked about this game started with both these teams being chippy at each other. And here you have 2 guys going at it. There's a lot of pride. A lot of these players grew up in the respective states.
And that's a reserve linebacker for Georgia. And Andrew East, the long snapper. And Tim Kimbrough, as I said, got an earful from his coach. But Georgia now with the football after Vanderbilt is shut down, and penalties had something to do with that. Brendan Douglas forges ahead for 3 yards, and it'll be 2nd and 7. Caleb Azubike, number 55, making the stop. Plays on that end position behind Kyle Westman for Vanderbilt.
Tim, you can't let a long snapper sling you to the ground now. That's what he's probably yelling at him about.
Douglas. He get met. Darian Herring just laid the boom on Douglas, and I'm surprised he didn't separate the ball.
Yeah, when I was watching these guys on film, there didn't seem to be a whole lot of physicality, but that's a great job by Herring fighting off his block. Look again at all the gold helmets and black jerseys flying to the football, giving themselves a chance to get off here on third down. I think they need to dial up the pressure and get after it and make Aaron Murray try and make a mistake.
2 of 8 on third down conversions for Georgia.
They bring 5.
And again the slant, complete to Connolly. And he's into Vanderbilt territory at the 40-yard line. Now let's go back to the studio for a Ford update.
All right, Tim, thanks. Elsewhere in the SEC East, after Solomon Patton returned the second-half kickoff for a touchdown, Missouri answers 3rd and 5. The give to Henry Josie. He goes in to make it 20-10 Tigers. Tim, back to you.
All right, Adam, as we come back to play, Brendan Douglas is ahead for a healthy gain of 9 on first down. So 2nd and 1 coming up, and Vanderbilt cannot afford to get gouged this way and fall behind by 17 with a backup quarterback having to go the rest of the way.
Yeah, no question. And between the tackles is where old number 22, Brendan Douglas, is able to make some hay. They've got to be able to control that line of scrimmage like they did early on in this game if you're the Commodores.
Douglas again, huge hole. Look at that, yards after contact too by Double Deuce.
He's such a physical runner, Tim. They talk about the one thing that he does is he's a north-south runner that runs behind his pads. This again is just an ISO. You get your big fullback Quavon Hicks on the weak side linebacker. And you win those matchups every time because Jakari Thomas, number 40, he's got to be able to sit in that hole and blow that up a little bit better than he did on that last one.
Pick up of 12 and a first down. Douglas carries it again. By the way, going back to that update that Adam Zucker gave us, Georgia, as much as they want to beat Florida after the open date in Jacksonville and that border rivalry that is the Gators and the Bulldogs, they actually are fans of Florida today. They need some help against Missouri. The tiebreaker goes to Missouri. If Georgia were to tie for the division, it would go to Georgia, presumably, if they were to beat Florida. And to South Carolina because they beat the Gamecocks. Reggie Davis, the intended receiver, incomplete. Well, let's take a look at the Verizon Red Zone. And this guy has been productive in his many trips there.
Doing a great job. 25 touchdowns, 65%. I think kind of the gold standard of the offense to getting touchdowns, which is very important. What you want to do when you have these opportunities is 75%. But when Georgia's kind of between the 25 and the 20, they like to take shots to the end zone. And once they get inside the 15, they like to run. So it'll be interesting to see what Mike Bobo calls up here. Aaron Murray redirecting protections.
Douglas. McGowan, 27, with the catch at the 6-yard line. And they almost didn't get this play off.
Mark Richt not liking what he sees, about to make a touchdown. No. Yes. Oh, thank God. Good job, guys. Good job. That would execute.
Brett McGowan, the senior from Calhoun, Georgia, with his first catch.
Look for some pressure here from Vanderbilt. Look for Georgia to run it. They got some one-on-ones, though.
Green. Stopped after a yard.
Tim, when they're in that shotgun look and they have that offset back, Georgia really likes to run that zone read. We saw Aaron Murray keep one down here. We also saw him score on a boot where he had a run-pass option. If you're Vanderbilt, you have to keep in mind and respect number 11's legs because he's a little bit more mobile than you think. And just when you sleep on him, he hurts you.
Douglas back in as the lone setback. He's got it. And is nailed at the point of attack. May have gotten a yard. That is all. Walker May, number 90, making the stop. Imperative that Vanderbilt hold him to 3 here.
I can't tell you how important that is just from the momentum. And when you have a backup quarterback, you're just not wired to be able to come from behind. being behind early in these games is what cost both these teams a win against Vanderbilt. But remember, Vanderbilt talked about being aggressive. It wouldn't surprise me if they bring the house on either a true blitz or a run blitz. But Rick now not liking what he sees and decides to take his timeout now.
Vanderbilt's defense looks to stiffen. Mark Richt will talk about it. The Home Depot SEC on CBS is sponsored by Outback Steakhouse, Verizon, Ram Trucks, and by Liberty Mutual Insurance. As we march ever closer to Halloween, a pumpkin patch can be found. And Caleb Azubike with his contacts on display, trying to match up here in the haunted area known as the Red Zone for the Vanderbilt Commodores as he looks on. His team trying to keep Georgia out of the end zone at a crucial time in this game.
No question, Vanderbilt needs to be aggressive. That was kind of their mantra coming into this ball game. You got to risk it all to win it all. They've been playing that way defensively. Let's see what Bob Shute dials up. They've been successful when they've been able to rattle and get Aaron Murray off his spot and thinking about pressure.
Green, the lone setback.
They're showing it off the slot, but I don't think they can run it down here.
For Conley, knocked away by Andre Howe.
That was a fire zone look, and they dropped Walker May, who may have tipped that ball, Timmy.
Still fantastic coverage by the senior from Port Allen, Louisiana.
No question. C28 coming off the edge there. Andre Howe running step for step with Conley. And Conley's had a lot of balls in his hands that he's dropped. But again, credit this Vanderbilt defense for forcing the field goal.
Marshall Morgan from 23 yards away. Georgia extends their lead, but the Vanderbilt defense comes away thinking, hey, we've hung in there, kept this at 2 scores. That's the veteran Conley, but Andre Howe said, nuh-uh, not going to let it happen. They settle for 3. If you think bungee jumping into icy waters is amazing, you've got to see The Amazing Race. Tomorrow after 60 minutes, only CBS. Tim Brando, Aaron Taylor, Allie LaForce. We're at Vanderbilt Stadium. The Commodores trailing now by 13. 6:24 remaining in the third quarter. This drive, ending with the 23-yard field goal, went 51 yards in 4:28. But this game has turned now 17 straight points for Georgia. And it has turned specifically since the pick 6 that was thrown on the trick play. And there's Austin Carter Samuels with crutches, but trying not to use them. Will not play. It's Patton Robinette's game the rest of the way. Ryan Kimbrough a couple of yards deep in the end zone. He is ahead to the 23-yard line. Let's take a look at that pick 6 off with a Emory and Henry look with CBS Eye Vision.
Yeah, keep your eye up at the top of the screen. Shaq Wiggins isn't fooled at all. He knew that play was coming before Vanderbilt did. Just did a great job of breaking on the ball. What the coaches said is he will tackle. He's got tremendous ball skills. But that was the play that happened 2 plays before Austin Carter Samuels got sacked and knocked out of the game. That was an expensive 3 plays in a row for Vanderbilt, and they just haven't been able to get any momentum going or convert any third down since.
Given the circumstances, one would think Vanderbilt, as you look at 5 of 8 drives, they've really been stymied of late, and field position hasn't helped, and neither will this penalty against Chris Quintera, the H-back.
Prior to the snap, false start, 82 offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Well, you're already with a backup quarterback and digging yourself a hole to start a series.
And this is what they started the first series of the second half with, a penalty, if you remember that. So here for the second time in a row, when they need to get something going, they're starting out behind the chains. It's 1st and 15.
Sun beginning to pierce through the clouds. here at Vanderbilt Stadium after the cold front came through just at the start of the game.
Too high safety, run it.
Seymour. Now let's get back to New York. Adam Zucker in the studio with a Ford update.
All right, Tim, thanks. South Carolina's 10-point halftime deficit at Tennessee gone. Connor Shaw leaning forward, 2 straight touchdowns. Gamecocks on top 21-17. And Missouri still up 20-10 on the Gators midway through the third. Tim and Aaron.
Those are huge football games in the Eastern Division, as we mentioned. And for the Bulldogs, they would like some help from Florida today against the Missouri Tigers. And South Carolina now with, you got to give Connor Shaw credit. He has really been tough after having his left arm in a sling 2 weeks ago. Again, the slam happens to Krause. He's got it. Hit low and down at the 30-yard line. But because of the penalty, they are 3 yards shy of the first down.
Well, we talked about the ball skills of Jordan Matthews here. Jonathan Krause does a good job of catching a football that's thrown a little bit behind him, takes a big shot. A great job by Robinette delivering that football, but again, behind the chains a little bit because of that penalty. They're 3rd and 4 instead of 1st and 10.
Seymour trying to stretch it out. Oh, did he will himself to that first down? That is just waiting for some blocking, being patient, and then running heavy.
Yeah, this is their pin and pull scheme where they get some big offensive linemen out there, but you see Robinette making his own hole. Tim, I don't think he was patient enough there. He's got to let his back set themselves up. That's something that Wesley Tate does a really good job of, but hey, it's a first down nonetheless.
Look at this. You see Seymour now in the Wildcat. Up at the top of your screen is Robinette. Seymour will take it right up the gut for another 5, maybe 6 yards.
Great patience that time. They like to run power out of it. They pull the backside right guard up into the hole, but you got to let those blocks and holes develop. And Seymour did a really nice job there. And hey, you pick up 5 yards on first down, you start to get ahead of the chains. 2nd and 5 is the hardest down to defend for a defense compared to 1st and 10 because of the run pass options that the offenses have.
2nd and a long 4. Again, they go Wildcat with Robinette flanking to the top of the screen. Seymour is patient this time. Sets sail down the sidelines inside the Georgia 45. Down to the 42, 17 yards.
Tim, that's the counter to the play that they ran just before. You see Robinette go out. Keep your eye on him. He gets a great block here, but instead of taking it up inside the B gap, they slide the offensive lineman around and get to the perimeter. And number 4, the quarterback, had a pretty nice job to be able to spring the running back. That's the changeup. They are so good, Vanderbilt, running out of what they call their Q package with a direct snap.
And it really takes some pressure off Robinette, who's now being called upon to do a lot in this second half, bringing his team from down 13. Quick out, it's picked off. Tipped right into the air and picked off.
Looked like Corey Moore, number 39, the strong safety, came up with that one.
Yep, he did.
And it wasn't Robinette's fault.
He put it right where he needed to.
Yes, he did.
Brian Kimbrough could not reel it in. And it was picked off. Georgia's got it. Coming up, Trey Mason, the Auburn Tigers headed to College Station. Showdown with Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel and the Aggies of Texas A&M, the most electrifying player in college football. His numbers incredibly close to eclipsing where they were this time a year ago.
Been really surprised that Johnny Manziel's played so well, not because he's such a great player, but it's just so hard to repeat and improve upon that performance he had last year. And with all the offseason distractions, for him to weather that storm's just been absolutely fun to watch.
Douglas, Georgia who had struggled at one point in the first half to run the football adequately, got off to a great drive that Douglas and Green keyed with their ground attack. And now they have really begun to say, this is what we're going to do. Yeah, and line up and beat you.
And I think they need to do it north-south. They need to run some more of that weak side ISO, some strong side ISO, get to the edge with your fullback leading out there. But where Vanderbilt's been successful is on the stretch plays because they're crossing the face of the offensive lineman.
2nd and 12 after the loss of 2. Murray underneath goes to the tight end Jay Rome, redshirt sophomore from Valdosta. Out ahead to the 42-yard line. Pickup of 8.
Yeah, Rome's more of a blocker and came into this game with only 3 catches. But Georgia trying to convert this, throw some more stuff underneath. They've got a one-on-one shot up top. They've also got number 22, who's had a nice second half running the football. Vandy's got a ton in the box. Georgia's got to throw it here.
Murray had to just get rid of that one. That's more coverage than anything else. He had to dump it. Pressure was coming late. Aaron doing the wise thing, putting it where no one could catch it.
Yeah, their defensive backs have done an excellent job so far today, just being aggressive and challenging the receivers at the line of scrimmage, playing physical. And again, that's number 23, Andre Howe. He's going to be a young man we're going to see play on Sundays, and Aaron Murray's got to be frustrated. Georgia's having a lot more success running the football today. Aaron Murray hasn't thrown for over 100 yards yet so far today.
Colin Barber boots it away. Jonathan Krause is back deep. And he's got it inside the 15 at the 13-yard line. A very special Vanderbilt alum is standing by with Allie LaForce.
You may recognize him as Brant Snedeker, the 2012 FedEx Cup champion and a graduate of Vanderbilt in 2003. Is that right? Am I aging you? How's it feel to be back?
It's always great to be back. I live here in town, and I try to get to a couple games a year, and this is obviously a big game for us. You know, Georgia's going to be a tough test for us, obviously. They're having their way with us right now, but we still got a chance, still got a quarter to go, so hopefully we can turn around here in this fourth quarter.
SEC fans are the most passionate out there, and I know there are some SEC grads in the PGA Tour.
Yes.
They can be pretty annoying, can't they? Who's the worst one?
Well, it used to be Chris DeMarco, but he's kind of toned it down a little bit. Jason Duffner's probably the worst right now. Well, you know, it's typically SEC fans. So Bubba comes and goes, but depending, he's more of a fair weather fan. So I hadn't heard anything from Bubba today, but Jason always loved being around Duffner because we have a good time talking football.
And your last couple years have been incredible, but the only thing missing is a major. Can we look forward to that coming up soon?
Hopefully so. Hopefully I can get a major soon and we can get a big bowl win here for us here at Vanderbilt. James Franklin's done unbelievable things, and I feel like we're both on the rise.
Well, the West Coast Swing is coming up. That's right here on CBS, so we look forward to watching you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I can't wait to get back out there and play a little bit.
All right, guys.
One of the great ones on the PGA Tour, Brant Snedeker. Seymour with the carry, getting out ahead for a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd and 8, and we wish Brant all of the best. And we've got flags flying. A little more activity up at the top of your screen between Krause and Shaq Wiggins. Interesting that it was a Florida fan first that was annoying, and now an Auburn fan in the locker room, Jason Duffner, that has taken the reins as most obnoxious. Here's Matt Moore with the call.
There is no foul on the play.
Well, thank you, Matt. Now I can read the promo. Start your Monday night with a great hour of comedy. How I Met Your Mother is now followed by Two Broke Girls. It's all new Monday beginning at 8, 7 Central, only CBS. Second and 8. He's got a lot of hard count here.
He was telling them alert.
Yep. Seymour stopped behind the line of scrimmage.
You know, it's interesting when you run laterally, you run the risk of getting those lost yardage plays. They've had some success running their pin and pull schemes, but it seems like they're a little tentative maybe to kind of unleash Robinette's arm and let him throw the football a little bit. But I think if you win this game, you got to throw it to 87 or number 17. And
yeah, you got to get Krause and you got to get Matthews unleashed.
turning into a coach, calling guys by numbers.
Robinette, incomplete, trying to go underneath to Matthews. He got tangled up, was a little frustrated there when he finally did come up with it. And again, Vanderbilt will be forced into a punt formation.
Vanderbilt has lost all their mojo right now. When your best player's dropping catchable footballs, you've lost whatever it is that you started that had you in the game at the beginning. Yeah. And you have a new quarterback, Tim. You got to be able to have your playmakers make plays, and Vandy's just not doing it.
Colby Cook will boot this one away. Youngster from Virginia gets it off inside his 10. Damian Swan loses it. There's the break Vanderbilt needed. It's a muff, so it will come back to the 36-yard line. And the recovery by Torrin McGaster, number 5, redshirt freshman from Daphne, Alabama.
The old third phase of the game rearing its ugly head for the Georgia Bulldogs once again, Tim. We talked about special teams and the roles that's played. Damian Swan's had plenty of problems defending passes. This time he has trouble fielding a punt.
Well, we touched on the woes for Georgia, particularly in special team play. It's happened to them over and over again this season. And now, Robinette with a chance to get something done.
And on a sudden change situation, take a shot, go vertically. That's their weakness. Attack it and continue that momentum.
Robinette running out of time. Felt the pressure, goes the other way, and there's Matthews. He has it at the 31-yard line. Now, nice ad-lib job there.
Great job of him reversing field when he felt the pressure. Had he continued to his left, he would have been sacked. But Matthews kind of run a listless route, was lazy on it, but then kicked it into gear and found a way to catch it.
Into the third, Georgia by 13. But Damian Swan's problems continues, whether being torched in the secondary or turning it over in special teams. We'll be back with the fourth. Vanderbilt in a position to make a run at this 13-point deficit they face. Damian Swan, the culprit this time, but it's happened all season long. Remember this one? The problem on the snap, they lost the game by 3. Then they give up a 99-yard kickoff return against an outmanned North Texas team, wound up tied at 21. Then the block punt, which enabled Tennessee to tie the game and force Georgia into overtime, and the loss of a number of players in an emotional victory. And here we go again with Swan's muff punt that enables Vanderbilt this quality field position to open the fourth quarter. 27-14, Georgia with a lead. Gerard Seymour, the lone setback in motion. Robinette. That play was discombobulated from the start. Nothing doing, and Leonard Floyd wraps him up, number 84.
As a defensive end or outside linebacker, somebody's got to be responsible for setting the edge. That time, Leonard Floyd not going to get fooled again. They got him a couple plays earlier in the last series on that, and this time he holds the edge very well.
4-down territory?
No question. I think you got to get 2 touchdowns, put you a win in this game. We talked about Franklin. Field goals aren't good enough. They knew they needed to be aggressive, so they don't have to get it all here on 3rd down. Run it.
Robinette tucks it, gets it up to about the 30, and that is all.
He had an opportunity, Timmy, to scramble that a little bit before. There was a hole in the defense, but credit Georgia for good coverage. Right there, if he takes off running, lets his back run with him, he could have picked up that 1st down. Credit him for trying to be able to look downfield. But that back end of Georgia, we've been giving them a lot of heat. Good job. They're trying to rob Jordan Matthews.
Well, you know, he really didn't see his tight end either. He had an open receiver. 4th down and 4. And it's as though we will have a timeout, Georgia. Huge play coming up, and now James Franklin will have a chance to chat with his redshirt freshman from Maryville, Tennessee.
And now it's time for our Geico game recap.
And back back-and-forth game early that tilted on this play when Ray Drew was hit with targeting and enabled Vanderbilt's drive to continue and led to this fake field goal as Spear took it in off the feed from his holder Hudson to give Vanderbilt the lead. But too many tricks in that package. Shaq Wiggins, the freshman, takes back a 39-yard interception return to give Georgia control of the game. And then Carter Samuels lost to injury to his knee, has not been back since. And it's been all Georgia from an offensive standpoint since then, including this emotional fourth down conversion by Aaron Murray to close the half and give Georgia a lead of 2 scores that they maintain here in the fourth by 13. Tim Brando, Aaron Taylor, Ella LaForce. First of 2 today on CBS Sports. Vern, Gary, and Tracy standing by at Kyle Field for game 2, Texas A&M and Auburn. Here we go, 4th down.
Look for Georgia to be aggressive here. Remember, this is a backup quarterback.
He's got time, and he just had it dislodged. It was Kraus that got hammered, and here comes the flag. Might we have targeting again? It was Rameek Wilson, 51, that hit him.
That flag was so late, and you heard the reaction of the crowd. You have to wonder if there was some influence there by the fans' reaction.
Well, they're going to discuss it. If there's any doubt, they're going to throw the flag. That's the instruction. Mike McGinnis, the replay official, then will be called upon to do perhaps what he had to do with Ray Drew earlier. And I did take time at halftime to speak with Mike McGinnis about it. And had Drew held up a little or just wrapped up the quarterback. Here we go.
Personal foul, targeting number 51 of a defenseless player. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It is
Previous
targeting.
play is under 30.
They will look at it.
Here he is right here.
Wow.
To me, that's right shoulder again. Great reaction by Rameek Wilson to double team and rob underneath and then come back over on Kraus. That's the way he patrolled the middle.
Yeah, that's a much more pronounced shoulder hit. Nowhere.
Gosh, you can't do anything better than that if you're Rameek Wilson.
Now, in the case of Drew, remember, it was a forward hit into the upper body. And as I mentioned, I talked to the replay official at halftime, and he said to me, had he held up or had he just wrapped up the quarterback, perhaps he could have overturned. But in this case, this one is one that is worthy of speculation, real speculation of an overturn. But remember, the personal foul still exists. The penalty yardage, and that's the other controversy, is going to be assessed regardless of whether it's targeting or not. Let's hear the contact as well as see it.
A couple things. The high-risk indicators. The low-risk indicators. You talking about Drew pulling off? You talk about Drew pulling off. That's a bang-bang play. Rameek Wilson trying to rob Jordan Matthews underneath. Flips his head on a swivel, sees Kraus coming across, and does a great job.
After further review, the ruling is reversed. Number 51 may remain in the game.
There you have it. But it is first down. So a lot of damage done simply by the first down being given.
And you mentioned the controversy of the play. By definition, if that wasn't targeting, then therefore, ergo, it's a legitimate legal hit. So why do you continue to assess the penalty? That's something I think the competition committee is going to look at strongly in the offseason, and they should.
And by the way, why not have some officials on the rules committee? The coaches are the ones that are on the rules committee. All right, here we go. 1st and 10. Quick out. Matthews has got it with a blocker, and he's inside the 10. Knocked out by Quincy Malger, number 20. Here's the Ray Drew targeting, which was forward, a forward hit. So not necessarily shoulder. There is a big difference. 2nd down. Seymour wrapped up. 59, Jordan Jenkins wrestles him down. And this is why it's more defined for an overturn the shoulder pad goes to the upper body, not the helmet.
His head was to the side. He led with his shoulder. It was low. That is textbook inside linebacker play by the leading tackler here for the Bulldogs.
And I want to really, again, that's a tough job for the replay official. And you can clearly define the difference in those two by looking at them.
No question. Drew could have laid up or wrapped him up, true, but it still seemed ticky-tack. But safety is the most important issue, and for that I applaud him.
Robinette decides to tuck it, and he's just shy of the first down. He's at the 6. The line to make the 5.
Timmy, Georgia's defense all year long has been stout after turnovers, only allowing 21 points coming into this game. We know how aggressive Vanderbilt wants to be. I think this is 4-down territory without question down here as well.
Biggest play of the game. Vanderbilt with a chance to get back in it and electrify this crowd.
Look for them to motion out. They like to sneak from this formation as well. Trying to hard cap them and draw them off sides.
Seymour. He will see more. 1st and goal. Now they've got options.
Now I think they hurry up, try and get up on the ball. Georgia's subbing guys in and out. Hit the gas pedal now. This is a great way for Vanderbilt to take back over this momentum.
Vanderbilt this drive off a muff punt gets the personal foul, and then they convert a 4th and 1. Seymour dots the I and tries to negotiate. And burrows down near the goal line. They'll mark him down at the 1.
Good hard run that time by Jerron Seymour. Keep in mind he's only 5'7", but he is 200 pounds, and short does not mean small. Vandy doing a very good job early in this game controlling the line of scrimmage. Very good offensive line up front, but they've got their hands full because the strength of Georgia's defense is that defensive line. But there would be nothing better to energize this team, Timmy, than to run this football in.
Actually marked at the 2. 2nd and goal. Robinette again. Touchdown, Vanderbilt. Patton Robinette converts after Vanderbilt, along with some good fortune, is able to cash in. 2 big moments. The muff punt by Swan, and then the foul that was called against Ramik Wilson. Targeting, no. Personal foul, assessed, keeping the drive alive, and Kerry Spear on for the extra point.
And that was an important foul because Vanderbilt had trouble converting on 3rd down, and that penalty was a huge, huge help for him.
36 yards on 9 plays after the muff. Wilson does stay in the game. He gets to ride a bike rather than go to the locker. On the minus side of turnovers, Georgia with another on special teams. And the guys that have the star walk go to the stars. The big hit causes a foul that is assessed while reversed as targeting, which will be discussed in the offseason. But for now, Vanderbilt right back in it. The Home Depot SEC on CBS is sponsored by Progressive, Napa, Red Lobster, and by Bud Light. Vanderbilt Stadium is jumping, and the coach has got him jumping too, or at least he did a few moments ago. 27-21 our score. 9 plays, 36 yards. Patton Robinette taking it in with some controversy to go along with it. But it's just part of the game in 2013. You'll have to deal with it until they make some changes. Sheldon Dawson is back deep.
Last time Georgia visited this stadium a couple years ago, special teams play And poor play at that by Georgia certainly affected the potential outcome of this game. And it's certainly what's given Vanderbilt life again here 2 years later.
Just a moment ago, we were talking about James Franklin. This is a guy that is outside the box, okay? He's like, I don't care who we upset. We're going to play physical, and we're going to try anything.
And the game 2 years ago ended with physical play between him and Todd Grantham. But today, both sides, they started out chippy, and they've been playing extremely physical. Whether it's at the line of scrimmage or the guys coming across the middle, both of these teams have showed up to play. I think this game's going to come down to the team that digs deep, finds a way to win, and can make a play, and it's got to be physical to do it.
Butler comes with pressure, the linebacker blitzing, and the quick toss is to Rentavious Wooten, number 17, and he's going to be a little slow getting up, it seems. Pick up a 4 on the play. Hammered by Javon Marshall, very active at strong safety. He got him low that time.
Here's a good opportunity for Vanderbilt to seize some momentum. We talked about the physical play. We just showed you what happened. Now Wooten, one of the players who's getting an opportunity to play because of all the injuries, is getting up slow.
You notice Vanderbilt's having a town hall meeting while Wooten gets himself up. Franklin calls them all over, wants a free opportunity to chat with his guys.
Yeah, and the person in the middle, that was Caleb Bazubike, number 55, getting those guys rallied up.
Old Crazy Eyes wanted to get in there, huh? By the way, Georgia's used 8 different receivers in the 13 completions by Murray. You wonder if he's going to break out at some point. This has been largely a running game for Georgia. Douglas again. Playing to the echo of the whistle. The Vanderbilt defense. Javon Marshall, Carl Butler collaborating for Vanderbilt.
And here's another big third down. Georgia has not been able to stretch the field vertically. They're bringing in their pass rushers, expecting pass here. Can they pin their ears back and get themselves off the field on third down? But from this formation, you got to be careful of the zone read, because 22 can run it north and south and get you those 4 yards.
Douglas, the lone setback. Here comes pressure. He gets it away, incomplete. It was Herring again, who's having a marvelous game. Darian Herring knocking it away.
That was Kenneth Towns on the drop. Again, the physical nature of this Vanderbilt defense is what's making a difference. Vanderbilt, their defensive coordinator, Bob Shute, dialing up pressure. And once again, it pays off. And Aaron Murray so far today, only 102 yards passing.
They definitely dialed up pressure. Did defensive coordinator Bob Shute in that series. Colin Barber to boot it away. Jonathan Krause is back deep. Beautiful boot will back Krause up. Nowhere to go. Really well covered. That's a 52-yard kick. Connor Norman was down there to make the stop.
Well, Timmy, Vanderbilt knew coming into this game that they had to risk it all to try and win it all. And it's been that physical play from that defense, being aggressive, trying to put some pressure on Aaron Murray, who's been struggling throwing the football. And the big hit on Krause. Georgia responds. This is turning into a heavyweight fight. Georgia up by 6 early in the fourth.
Next Saturday at 5 Eastern, CBS Sports Network is the only place to see the Fighting Irish. Head coach Brian Kelly leads Notre Dame into Falcon Stadium to take on Air Force, only on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. You ready to strap it on for your Irish again?
Boy, I wish I could, but I'd get hurt in a pillow fight at this point, Timmy. I think I'll leave the playing to the bigger, younger dudes.
Jerron Seymour dots the I behind Quintero, the H-back. First down for Robinette. Looking long, taking his shot. He's got his man. And guess who they're picking on? Swan in defense could not stay with Krause. 41 yards.
That was an underthrown football that Jonathan Krause did an excellent job adjusting to. We talked about Jordan Matthews and his ball skills, but when that football's in the air and you're a receiver, you got to go get it. And that time Krause did.
Seymour again. Well, he's got quick feet, really quick feet. I noticed you didn't like his patience early, but he exercised it, particularly in the goal line situation a few moments ago.
Yeah, there's no question. When you're a redshirt sophomore as a younger player, sometimes it's hard to be patient for a runner, particularly if one of your best assets is speed. But vision and patience aid a running back greater than almost any other characteristic.
Coming into the game, averaging just under 6 a carry. There's Austin Carter-Samuels, reduced to assistant coach and cheerleader the second half. Justin, again, Jerron Seymour takes it, stays alive inside the 35, near the first down at the 32. 20-yard shot.
Oh, Timmy, here comes that Momo that Vandy lost early on. Georgia, hands on the hips, walking around a little bit. You see that Vanderbilt's starting to go hurry up. They feel the momentum shift, and they're trying to take advantage of it.
Robinette decides to keep it. And as George is going for the strip, you could tell Jordan Jenkins was trying to rip it out of there. Robinette decided to put 2 hands on it.
Good job, Tim. I saw that as well, and that was something that Todd Grantham said that they had to do, is finish the plays. When you're around the football, create some turnovers. They just simply haven't done a good job of that this year. Only 6. They had one earlier, the big pick 6 by Shaq Wiggins, but they need one desperately here because Vandy is driving.
5 long years since they've taken out a ranked opponent out of the Wildcats. Seymour. This has really helped them with the loss of Austin Carter-Samuels, too. They've gone with a lot more Wildcat formation, which eases some of the pressure on Robinette, a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, no question. You always want the supporting cast, and you got to think about it. This Vanderbilt offense is kind of in a similar position for different reasons in Georgia is. You lose star players, you got to have the next guy step up, and the best way to protect a young quarterback that's going against a defense that's got a lot of talent, even if they've been torched on the back end or not, is to run the football, and that's what Vandy's doing.
Matthews, the receiver in the slot on the left-hand side at the top of your screen. Robinette. That one could have been picked. It was read beautifully by Shaq Wiggins. He had visions of the Love Shack again.
Vision's a great word, Tim, because Shaq Wiggins was very disciplined with his eyes, keeping him in the backfield the whole time. As a cornerback, you have to plant and drive off that back foot. And Shaq Wiggins showing you, even though he's only a true freshman, Georgia Bulldog fans going to get a lot of good football out of number 6 as he gets older.
Shoy was the intended receiver, the tight end. 3rd and 7.
Too high safety look. Gash him in the middle.
Robinette's pass is caught by Krause at the 15. First down, Commodores.
Tim, what Vanderbilt is doing is they're using Jordan Matthews as a decoy. It's been Krause, particularly on this drive, that's stepping up Georgia's rolling coverage to try and take away 87. And number 17 is showing up big. You see there, they got 3 guys trying to take number 7, which leaves 17 wide open. Jonathan Krause, great job picking up the first down.
Now they find Matthews. Just allow him some room to get those open gates rolling with a couple of blockers in front. Throwing it underneath to him. He picks up 5.
Now keep in mind, this Georgia defense is young. They have a lot of talent, but they're young. Here you see some great job out on the outside edge of blocking, and Matthews dropping his shoulder with that big 6'3", 205-pound frame.
And this is really where you miss Drew. This is really where 47 could make a big difference for Georgia in the red zone, and Todd Grantham doesn't have it. 2nd and 5.
See some adjustments being made. Georgia's been very vanilla. Do they come after this young quarterback? Looked like it manned up on the outside edge.
Robinette's in trouble. The one thing you didn't want to do was give up a sack, and Ramik Wilson just got a big one. 13-yard loss. He knows it. He'd love to have that play back.
Ramik Wilson coming off the top of your screen on the left side, one-on-one on a tight end. If there's a pet peeve I have in offensive football, it's never leave a tight end in pass protection because they're going to hurt you. And that time, Quintera gets beaten. Ramik Wilson comes up with a huge play.
All right. We in 4-down territory again, aren't we?
Well, with the way that their defense has been playing, it depends how much they get on this next play.
Looking for Krause. Ball is tipped by Swan. Give him credit. Damian Swan, guilty of the turnover, guilty of being burned for 41 yards on this drive, knocks it away from Krause, who had a step on him in the end zone.
You're absolutely right, Tim. Excellent job by Damian Swan. One of the very rare vertical shots that Vanderbilt has taken, and I think rightfully so. You didn't pick up any yardage on that third down. Take the points.
Well, do we see another fake? do we or don't we?
I think this would be a great time to run it. You got him once. Remember, the holder, Taylor Hudson, was a high school quarterback, number 29.
They'll try from 40 yards. This would close the gap, and does, to 3, which is important. You're playing at home, right? You'd love to have overtime, right?
No question. And your defense is playing great, coming up with stops. Georgia, with a little over 4 minutes left, has a chance to put this game on ice.
It's been 5 long years for Vanderbilt since they've gotten a win against a ranked opponent. They've got the chance today, coming off a 9-win season. Not since 1915 has Vanderbilt football flourished in a manner similar to the way they did a year ago. That being said, you want to keep the momentum going, and James Franklin does, and he's got a very tough schedule in front of him. You need to get this one today. Kerry Spear is about to boot it away. A 3-point lead being nursed by the Georgia Bulldogs. J.J. Green has drifted back into single safety, awaiting the kick. Green will take a knee, and Georgia will begin at the 25. Well, remember, we've got the Napa Auto Play of the Game. That's right. The Napa Play of the Game is coming up, presented by Napa Auto Parts. We'll have it for you shortly.
It's funny how so many things just went through my head right there about what the play of the game would be, depending on who wins this ball game.
Exactly. That's why we're waiting. That's what we call a tease. Yeah. Aaron Murray. Look at that. On the season versus today. My guess is he'll have to make a play if Georgia's to secure this win.
Amen, brother.
Brendan Douglas is not a bad option. Let's go to New York for this update. Adam Zucker is standing by.
Hey, Tim, South Carolina holding on to a 1-point lead at Tennessee right now, but they have lost their quarterback, Connor Shaw. More injuries to SEC stars. Ice on that left knee. He's on the sideline. SC goes to Missouri next week. Tigers lead the Gators by 12. Tim?
They do have a quality backup in Dylan Thompson, however. That's a luxury that a number of schools just don't have, as Reggie Davis takes the pass and is ahead to the 32-yard line. That brings up 3rd down and 3. And this crowd is smelling it.
Vanderbilt's defense looks like they're playing hard than Georgia's right now, with the greatest sense of urgency. Packed house here. Crowd is on their feet. Tim, this game could come down to this play right here. Georgia's got to be careful. Aaron Murray's been very quiet. You said it. At some point, he's got to be able to make a play. Look for Vandy to come trying to get themselves off the field.
Butler blitzing. Douglas takes it. He's stuffed. I'm a little surprised in the play calling in that sequence for Georgia.
Man, so am I. It was awfully conservative. You have arguably the best SEC quarterback that's ever existed in Aaron Murray. And granted, he's having a tough day, but that's not all been on him. They've got to put that football in his hands and give him a chance to win this game, because now it's in a defense which is arguably the weakness of this Georgia team.
Timeout, Vanderbilt. They've got a couple of timeouts remaining. This is some stop made by the interior forward wall of Vanderbilt.
That defensive line, look at that, and those linebackers coming up. A safety, Kenny Ladler, on that play, throwing his body around. Look at that from the safety. As a safety, you got to be able to come up and fill those gaps, fill the alley.
You know, that's what Bob Shoop's defense is really all about. Guys getting lined up and reading and having the proper zone pressures. That's what he preaches. The former William and Mary coach and head coach at Columbia. He got exactly what he wanted from his smart guys there.
And I don't care who you are. I mean, Georgia's only had 87 yards on 24 plays in this second half. That defense has been whipping them up front in the trenches. This game's been a heavyweight fight going back and forth. But right now, it's Vandy who's got the momentum and may have thrown the last punch.
The door has certainly been left open by Georgia.
High snap. Special teams problems. Vanderbilt will have it at the 13-yard line.
Special team woes continue to be a huge storyline for Mark Richt's team.
And his team's taken some heat because of those woes. They don't have an official special teams coach, which is what a lot of teams in the country don't. But the fake field goal, the muffed punt, personal foul, bad snaps, it's been the miscues by this Georgia team that could potentially cost them the game. Tremendous field position for Missouri.
Yeah, and now that field goal, the decision to take the three and not be in 4 down territory really gives them a lot of options offensively in this sequence.
Especially since they can still get the first down here as well.
Seymour.
A little jitterbug. Jerron Seymour gives Vanderbilt the lead.
Look at the defense, Tim. Stunned.
I mean, you talk about quick feet. That's a little dance and go. Dance and go.
Let go of me. Tim's up here grabbing me, trying to do some dance moves to imitate Seymour. But you're right. That stutter step, and it was his acceleration. That's what he's so good at. Once that hole opens, he hits it.
He gave him a little dangle leg and then went.
It's called the dead leg, baby.
Maybe the Ickey Woods shuffle from back in the day. That was incredible. 16 carries, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns for Jerron Seymour. Spear with the extra point.
And Georgia will now be forced to score a touchdown. 17 straight points for the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Another mistake. Barber could not reel it in off the high snap. And Jerron Seymour says, I'll give you this left leg and then use both to get into the end zone. Don't forget, game 2, Auburn at Texas A&M. Vern, Gary, and Tracy standing by, but still 2:53 remaining here, separating Vanderbilt from its first victory against a ranked opponent since 2008. And kickoff at that game is in 8 minutes, and we'll be joining it as soon as we're done here. Sheldon Dawson is back deep in single safety for Georgia. Nice job by Spear. Absolutely no way you can bring that one back. Look at that. They've outscored them 17-0 in the fourth, and they trailed by 13 through 3.
Think there's any quit in that man's team? Look how intense he is, Tim.
Absolutely. He is the Pied Piper of Music City. I talked to him about this being an SEC melting pot. He says, well, I'm turning it into a Vandy town.
You didn't like too much that you wore that bright orange shirt into the meeting yesterday. All right, now if you're Georgia, 11, Aaron Murray's got to be able to make plays. Remember, the injuries at receiver have hurt them.
That one's airmailed over Conley. Listen, you know, they really were very conservative in that last series. I mean, as conservative as you could possibly be. And that left the swinging door open. Finding a way to get vertical with Conley, one would think has got to be a must here.
They haven't been able to do it, Tim. Aaron Murray's only completed 14 balls for 100 yards. They just simply aren't getting the field or the ball down the field.
Well, they go underneath. Rentavious Wooten is wrapped up well shy. Only a pickup of 2 on the play. Stephen Clark was all over him.
That's not going to be enough. You can't run something underneath and expect to be able to split the seams and hit your head on the goalpost. But I think we're seeing the depth. These guys have been on the field almost all game. Do they have enough in the tank to get it done?
These zone concepts have really given Murray a hard time. That pass incomplete, incidental, but yes, contact by Andre Howell. And the veteran will get tagged with interference against Conley.
Great call, but that was a mistake by Andre Howell. He was breaking on the ball and he got his feet tangled.
Yeah, it was.
That's interference. Defense number 23. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Includes an automatic first down.
Unintentional, intentional mistake here, right?
It doesn't matter whether it's intentional or not. He just grabs the legs of Conley. Howell was all over that. He was breaking on the football. That's a big break for Georgia.
He was smelling a pick and then tried to pull back. Committed the foul. Brendan Douglas in the backfield for Georgia on first down. He's got it underneath. Oh, it's the football. Vanderbilt's got it. Andre Howell. Redemption for the young man from Louisiana. He's the man that told us Coach Franklin had our back when he did what he did 2 years ago in the aftermath of that game with Todd Grantham. We lined up behind him because he had our back. Well, here, after the mistake, the senior is right where he needed to be.
Great job by Jake Seelan, the middle linebacker, who's filling in for Chase Garnham, finding a way to make a play. But, Tim, we said it, the very first thing we talked about at the top of the show was the freshman stepping up, and here you have Robinette, who can't even watch, hoping he can find a way that his defense can make a play, and they came up for him big time. But the supporting cast of Aaron Murray and this Georgia Bulldog offense is letting them down again.
Let's get to New York. Another update from Adam Zucker. Adam.
Well, Tim, it's mayhem everywhere. South Carolina falls at Rocky Top. Michael Pilardi from 19 yards as time expires. The Vols win. 2 SEC losses now for SC. And Missouri has blown it open against Florida. 36-17 with under 6 minutes left. It's a division-wide changing of the guard, Timmy B.
Cannibalizing the SEC East, and we may have it throughout the Southeastern Conference as this season goes on. Remember, we're really at the midway mark, and obviously Missouri is in position, but we were saying coming into this week, South Carolina looked to be in the best possible position.
And the reason we said that, though, Timmy, is because they were also the healthiest. They lose their quarterback, Connor Shaw, going down. This Missouri team, I think, is quite a bit better than a lot of people speculated, but when you watch them on film, as I did, getting ready for this game, you see how good that front four and that defense as a whole is, and how about Vandy finding a way to make a play and stealing a win at home? Possibly.
Hands off to Seymour, and Jerron ahead for about a yard. That's it. Quick timeout taken by Georgia.
And that's going to be their last one, Tim.
Georgia, that is their last time out of the half.
Well, the last time Vanderbilt had a win against Georgia, it was the Fighting Donardos. Jerry DiNardo was the head coach. And Vanderbilt completed just one pass. They ran it 65 times for 376. Corey Harris had a 51-yard fumble recovery. Harris, Sam Chalmers, Marcus Wilson all ran for touchdowns in a 27-25 win. Georgia has won the last 10 at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt finished 5-6 that year. What a shot that is right there. Artis Samuels. And remember, in tears, yes, he is. But understanding that his grandfather, Tom, who played baseball here and paid his way as a walk-on, afforded him the chance to get the thing started today. And frankly, even though this is a huge comeback, if it holds up, and it's been manufactured by Baton Robinette. Without his play early, there is no chance for a comeback.
Yeah, there's no question. He's a special player and finally letting his own emotional guard down, but Vandy's offense can't afford to do the same.
Seymour ahead to the 30, and the clock goes tick, 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 tick.
Nice run. You got to bleed it. He stayed in bounds, fought hard for those extra yards. For a shorter player, he can run behind his pads at times, too.
Now, this Georgia team has allowed now 30-plus points in 6 of their 7 games. And remember, the loss of Ray Drew cannot be overlooked in this second half. They really could have used him as Vanderbilt was plowing through with Gerard Seymour, Wesley Tate, and company here in the second half. Out of the game for targeting. Seymour again to about the 28-yard line before his forward progress is stopped.
Gerard Seymour carries to the right side.
There's no question, Timmy, that Drew was such an important piece, an emerging star, really, for that Georgia defense.
Well, he was a run stopper as well as a tremendous bull rusher.
Great bull rusher in the pass game with that forklift move made so famous by Jumpy Geathers, a young player that was nice enough to rearrange my patella tendon for me in the playoffs when he was playing for Atlanta. But what I saw out of Vandy today was what we're looking at here. Nothing but heart. They played hard. Georgia, with less than 20 seconds to play.
Now, here's an interesting call. Spear is a tremendous kicker, obviously. But you do run the risk, do you not, of a block and return. Just a thought. You might want to hold on to that. Now let's take a look at our play of the game, presented by Napa Auto Parts.
Well, there was a lot to choose from in this game today, but it was that last fumble by Brendan Douglas, the true freshman, played so hard and so well, unexpectedly, maybe a little bit earlier than the Bulldogs would have liked to have had, but Jake Seelan, the middle linebacker, filling in for Chase Garnham, comes up with the biggest play of the game, and it's tough on a young freshman. You got to keep your head up, but that's 2 weeks in a row, Timmy, that one of his turnovers, putting the ball on the ground, has cost his team.
One was in a comeback effort, and the other trying to hold a lead, and that enabled Vanderbilt an opportunity. They aren't going to go for the field goal here.
And remember, they talked about being aggressive is maybe the way that you avoid the blocked kick, running a special and doing a fake here.
45 yards the attempt. Hudson, as we mentioned, is a former high school quarterback, and he's holding the punter. And the boot is hooked and leaves time remaining and a 4-point lead. So if Murray can work some late magic, Georgia can come out of here. That one will be one to remember. Spear, sometimes you get out in front of it when the adrenaline's really flowing.
Yeah, that might have been a bad hold there, Timmy.
Snap was high, and it affected the hold. You're right.
Well, if you're Aaron Murray, without any timeouts, if you've been living right, the football gods will reward you here, but throwing the ball vertically, something they've struggled with all year long. This would be a great time to see Kyle Westman and Walker May, that defensive line, put some pressure on him.
Lets it fly. It's nearly picked off. That could have done it. Herring was in position to pull it down. But alas, that's the reason he's a defensive player. Murray's got one more shot.
And again, he forced that football. You're getting kind of desperate here late in the game, but Vandy's defense that time rushed 3 players and were able to get Murray off of his spot and force him to throw a bad football into coverage.
These young men have been waiting for that signature win for 2013. James Franklin getting 9 last year was amazing, but this one would be arguably the biggest ever for him in this stadium. Murray.
This is it. Last play of the game.
That will do it. Vanderbilt gets their first win over a ranked opponent in 6 years. Javon Marshall ends it with the pick. And Conley is down on the final play of the game. Is that not symbolic of the way the season has gone for Georgia?
Oh, man.
Austin Carter-Samuels celebrating. The two coaches meet. What an incredible game. Vanderbilt wins it for Aaron Taylor. Allie LaForce, Tim Brando saying so long from Nashville. Our final 31-27 Vanderbilt coming up next. 24th ranked Auburn visits Johnny Football and the 7th ranked Aggies of Texas A&M. For our entire crew, Tim Brando saying so long. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports.